This episode may contain graphic language and descriptions, nicotine use, and may not be suitable for younger audiences. Opinions expressed in this episode are of the minds and experiences of the participants and do not represent those of any other people, organizations, groups, or recovery-based fellowships that may be mentioned. We speak only for ourselves.
God bless you. We love you, and we hope you hear something that helps you. Thanks for listening. Rolling.
You ready to peel some onions, bro?
I was going to be down there peeling some onions for that bread, maybe.
Yeah. It smelled like oranges when we went down there.
That might have been from breakfast. I don't know why that's starting to play. We're going to mute this. All right, bud. We were here a few days ago. Well, we were there at your house. And throughout the audio, as I was listening back to it, there was like a bunch of like crackling at random parts. So I wasn't gonna. I mean, I'm lazy. You know what are you gonna do? And I wasn't gonna go through the whole entire thing and try to edit every single little part of the clip, and then the audio would sound different than the main audio. But if I made all of the audio sound like that, then it all would have sounded weird. In order to get rid of the weird sound, it was a whole thing. So it's just like we never did it.
Back at it, dude.
Back at it.
Take two.
Married man.
Married man, dude.
Married man. So I don't know, dude. It feels weird having to like kind of try to like redo an episode.
I'm sure it won't be an exact redo, and that's fine.
No. I just mean in terms of like recapping shit. Like had the bachelor party in the Poconos. That was sick. We went skeet shooting. That was sick. Little golf format.
I don't even know if sick covers it, bro. It was one of the funnest things I've done in the last however long, that's dude. Fair. And I didn't expect it. I was a little scared though.
I was scared.
I could tell we were all a little scaredy.
I was scared of the first one. I
couldn't read Larry. Like it seemed like he had rocked a shotgun before, but like you, me, and Sean were legit scared.
It was probably just his jacket. Yeah. His jacket probably just looked like he's handled a shotgun.
And the wrench on his keychain.
Oh shit. It's weird because that like, if you just randomly talk about a man's wrench, it kind of sounds like. You know?
Yeah.
But it's like an actual wrench.
That it is, dude.
I mean,
right next to his weapon.
Yeah,
you know, he's ready, dude. Yeah. He's ready.
So that was really cool. 12 gauge shotguns are awesome.
Who won the skeet again? I forget.
I did.
Tell us how it happened. Tell us how it happened.
I was the best skeeter.
Give us the last two stands.
The last two stands. So the way it worked was like in a golf format when you went from station to station. We did a partial course, and I probably already said a golf format, but like everybody goes up and gets 6, right? It was 6 shots a station, and then the last one we got 8, just because that's how we ended up running out. And the one right before the last one. Wait, yeah. The second to last one, you hit all 6, right? That's what happened. And then that had put you...
tied. Going into the last
that tied.
Going into 18,
you and
baby.
I, right?
Yep.
And Sean wasn't that far behind. Larry took a little bit to get going, but I don't think he would... I think he would do a lot better if we went out again. I think we all would, honestly. Then the last one is 8 shots. Last hole, we pull up, and I hit all 8.
Dude, you just went 2, 2, 2, 2, like a lot of direct hits, and you went first or second, which just totally fucked me. So I get up there, first 2, second 2, looking good.
Yeah.
Fucking goose egg the third 2, dude. I don't know what it is. It felt like a short putt on the 18th hole, like a 4-footer. They're so fucking easy to miss. But that amount of pressure on me, dude, like I cracked. I just couldn't hang. You know, like
it was weird. Like I didn't even really feel pressure. And like I said this on the last recording, and that's probably not the last time I'm going to say that. But we, like the whole time that I was there, or that we were there, I knew that like a buckshot travels, I'm pretty sure just a normal caliber fires, like travels faster than a buckshot does. I could be wrong, but especially because they all spread out.
Mm-hmm.
And
which you could see on the water on those middle stands.
Oh, which was so sick, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching those, like it was almost really cool to miss, you know, on those holes.
I sucked on those ones, dude.
They were weird, dude. Especially that one that it almost like it shot like straight up and then curved down right in front of you.
Yep.
It's like you're playing one of those arcade games where you have to just like fucking last second.
And we were all missing low, like because it felt like you had to follow it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were like kind of figuring out what works for you as we went, but I was like,
well, I was trying to figure it out.
I was starting with like have a lock point where I'm just waiting for that disc.
Yeah.
And on some of them, I started trying to follow it. Like the one where I made sure not to do that because I knew it would fuck me was the rabbit run one, where it went down the chute and rolled across the ground. Mm-hmm. Like I made sure to just have a lock point in the middle and just take it out.
Yeah.
But I kept trying to follow it on those water ones. Dude, I think I honestly got like 2 or 3 total on those 2 stations.
So like I don't think following it is bad, and this will transition to like where like the point that I lost when I'm talking, like go fucking figure what else is new. And where like I think following it is, and this is a very like I've shot a shotgun once kind of perspective, right? But like I feel like following it isn't bad. It's like at some point you need to, like while you're following it, you need to paint a picture in your head. You need to constantly like be re-uploading what you think the trajectory is. Like you need to figure it out. And then at some point, instead of following it, you need to go ahead of it based on what your mind is telling you where it's going to be next. And all of that in like really quick. And for whatever reason, dude, it all went together on the last hole. And I was just, I don't know, dude. It was to the point where like the last 3 shots on that hole, I knew when I found my spot, like in following and like mapping the trajectory where it was going to go, I knew right before I pulled the trigger that I was going to hit it. And I don't know what that was, dude. I'm not trying to pipe myself up or anything. That was just my experience. I will say though, I try to be very graceful about the whole situation, right? But like that was the coolest thing that could have happened. Like I wanted so bad to just go out there and just somehow figure out that like I have a natural knack for shooting guns. Like I just think like I'd get at least a couple centimeters down there if I discovered that. You know what I mean? And it was just really cool, dude. It was really cool.
Dude, I'm so jealous that like you got victory and no pain at your bachelor party. I'm so jealous of that because like it seems like a lot of the bachelor parties I've been to, you do something competitive and fun, but there is an element where the groom to be has to suffer. So like I don't know why, but like so up there at my we were in Maryland somewhere, kind of by Ocean City, Maryland for mine, and we did trout fishing, paintball, and then something else small. Like I think we might have went bowling just at night after a really good dinner. But so we go play paintball. I've never played paintball in my life.
Neither have I.
So the second that I feel like I got a lock on someone, I'm out. I'm hit and I'm out. It was like the most non-eventful thing, but it was fun. Like the courses and like you run out there, you got your hiding spot. But at the very end, I didn't see this coming. I had to do what's called the deer run, which is where basically everybody in my party and anybody else who's accessible lines up in a line in the middle of the place. And I have to run through there up and back twice, and they all shoot me.
Dude, that's like jackass shit.
Dude,
Yeah.
So I get the challenge. They're like, yeah, you're gonna do this. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, that whole little fuck it, how bad can it be kind of mentality us guys are so good at.
Yeah.
Dude, I do my first lap. I'm getting hit left and right. Not that bad. I take my little relay turn and start running back, and dude, the pain like this gets so bad. I literally think I'm gonna fall down. So I go back to the end of my first lap where you're supposed to turn around and redo.
Mm-hmm.
I just ran the fuck out of there, dude. I bailed. Yo, it hurt so fucking bad.
Man.
Dude, I had welts for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've seen videos and I've heard things. I know getting hit with a paintball in a normal paintball setting is not fun. And then like at a point blank range by multiple people. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, dude, it's just, but it's awesome that you got the W, dude. Like exactly how you did it.
Yeah.
And we all found a new addiction. We could always use new addictions. Come on.
Love it.
So
yeah, we got to get back.
We really got to like schedule something over the next couple weekends.
Yeah. The last time that one Saturday just kind of fell through for everybody. Yeah, we definitely got to get back out there and do that. Wedding was sick. The wedding was awesome. I just remembered last night. I remembered that that I had misplaced one of Madeline's earrings. Do you remember that? And I beelined it here from Chester Springs, which isn't that far, but like in terms of timing, like I had to be very quick, and I hit like 110 on 202 to get back here. And did I tell you that the morning after the wedding, I found them in my bookcase right here, where I was looking the whole entire time that I was here while I was supposed to be getting ready for everything. And I found them. I knew I had slipped them somewhere. I just didn't know where. And then I found them the morning after. So she did get them.
Yo, so you did a colossal spiritual turnaround that day, dude. Because I gotta say, when I pulled up, you were more stressed than I have ever seen you in 5+ years of knowing you, dude. Like you were like a little bit freaked out, right? Not even just because of the earrings, but just in general.
Oh, I was wrecked.
And you're like, I got to go home and find them.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there waiting for the room to warm up. Just like, fuck, dude. He looks stressed and like turned it back around, dude.
Yeah.
Because like it's so funny how like you wake up on that day and nobody really knows like exactly why. Like if you ask me why I was as nervous as I was on my wedding day, like I really can't even tell you. It's all this shit put together.
Yeah.
But dude, it's like when you wake up on that day, you're like, thank you, but fuck.
Yeah, dude.
How am I gonna do this?
So they were all getting ready here, so I had to fuck off as of like at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I went over to the hotel to just hang out in my mom's room with her and my sister, and then my uncle stopped by for a little while. And it wasn't until maybe like noon, maybe, where I looked at the time and I mean excited as shit, right? But it felt like all of my organs were about to fall out of my asshole. Like I for whatever reason, dude, and then my head starts swirling and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, dude? Like, yeah. I was so fine like throughout the whole morning up until that point.
And nobody can say anything to you. Like,
no.
Your mom, your homie, your whoever.
Oh, that's why I left. I left as soon as I felt that way. I said, guys, I'm sorry. I love you so much. See you later. I got to get out of here. I got to go.
Yeah, dude, it's like a kind of nerve that you can't calm. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Anyway, at least sober. Like, I did not figure out a way to calm it.
Yeah.
But, like, you are just in it. There's no escape. I got to do this. I don't know why I feel the way I do. Yo, it's fucked. Like I felt it too.
Yeah,
man.
like I wasn't nervous to be in front of a lot of people. I mean, like speaking at like AA meetings has like helped me with that. Although we've talked about this before. I still get like diarrhea every time I have to speak. Like it wasn't any of that. Like all of my friends and family were gonna be there, or most of my friends and family were gonna be there, and I just was like really excited to like have a good time. And then all of a sudden it was just like I knew shit wasn't hitting the fan, but it was almost like shit was hitting the fan because of how my body and my mind were like just going in a fucking tailspin, and I just didn't know what was going on, man.
Dude, I think so I remember talking to this buddy, like totally different context, but I remember he was on the way as like he was probably 10 or 12, and he was on his way to a baseball game. Big baseball game, like one of like the division or state, this or that. And his dad said to him like, "Yo, you nervous?" And he said, "So nervous." And his dad said, "Good, you'll play better." And I sometimes think that like that fucking incurable nerve that we get is like a physiological preparation where your mind and your body are like prepping you for everything you're gonna need. But dude, it's so fucking uncomfortable, man.
It can dial you up and like and zone you in as well, dude. Like it could really like tunnel vision your focus on like a lot of things.
Like I've spoke before where I literally don't have a nerve in the world. Like I'm just up there. I don't give a fuck. And I've spoke before where I'm like feeling like I'm gonna like, you know, stutter. I'm so nervous. I feel like I do better when I'm nervous. It's weird, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. But
yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was a beautiful wedding from beginning to end.
Thank you, dude. So yeah, that whole thing was wild. Had a very off the cuff dinner speech. I lost it when like I knew what song my mom and I were gonna dance to, but like when it happened, like I was I was dancing with her. I forget what I said, but I'm like, hold on, I'm trying to remember what I said. I think I was like, are you fucking kidding me with this song choice? Are you kidding me? I'm gonna lose it up here. Like I was sitting there and like as I was hugging her, there were some points in there I was just like, you motherfucker, like how dare you pick this? Embarrass me up here in front of everybody. As like a joking way, you know. I love my mom.
Not knowing that everybody would have loved it had you lost it, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, I lost it as soon as I saw her walk down the aisle, man. I just couldn't. I don't know what it was. But yeah, that whole night happened. It was awesome. Food was fine from what I remember it. It didn't blow me away when we taste tested it anyway, but like it's just fucking it's wedding food. Yeah. Then we went to Colorado for like 10 days. Did a whole bunch of shit there. And yeah, now we're back at it. So, few moments in my life where I've felt as much like blessing and gratitude, like to the point where I couldn't help but feel that and like nothing else. Like it was just like shoved into me, and yeah, that's why that's all I could talk about like during the dinner talk. It was like that's all I could feel. It was yeah, it was fucking crazy. Crazy moment. But now we're back.
Yeah, dude, it I remember we were talking about this recently, but like I don't know if it's because people like us experience such a high dose of hopelessness for so long, but like when I'm in those moments, I can't really figure out how it happened. And it's not like I'm sitting there trying to like, how did this happen? And you know, but like, it's just so fucking good and so like surreal that it's all there. And I got all this love and support and all this grace around me. Like, dude, I think in those moments, I'm just kind of speechless because like I felt so hopeless for so long and just couldn't get anything right.
Yeah.
And now there's this whole room of just like blessing and, you know, support and love and, you know, gifts and hugs and, you know, dude, it's just fucking amazing, man.
Yeah, I think it's just so much positivity. Like so much, you know, and like I guess like to what you're saying, like the only comparable I have to it is like in the polar opposite on the negative end. Like I know what it feels for me in the situations that I've been in that were overwhelmingly negative where everything negative in my life that I was causing converges into like one moment, and I just feel like I can't fucking breathe. Like it was kind of like that, but like on the other end. And so like I can fathom what like negativity is, although like things can always get worse, and like there's always some out there that that's worse that I might experience later, or maybe never will. But
Ollie boy coming to say what's up.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, like those negative moments, like those rough times, I feel like when that shit would happen, like the really bad days, you know, get caught in a really bad lie that comes with handcuffs, or like end up in a hospital and like you're calling somebody and they're like, what the fuck happened, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was like immersed in that negativity, I always knew I created it subconsciously. Now, whether I was honest enough to be like, yep, you created it, probably not. Yeah. But I sort of knew it. But the really blissful, positive moments, I'm just like, did I do this? Like, how the fuck is this happening right now?
Right. Yeah.
Like it's hard to soak that up for me, dude. Like it's hard to sit in like an amazing, beautiful moment and my mind to grasp the fact that like I had a lot to do with that. It's a tough feeling for me to process, I think.
Fair enough.
And I feel like my take on what you were saying when you spoke, when like you talked to like your guests, was like you were kind of trying to say that in a way.
Yeah, like the only thing that like I could really get out was that things that positive don't often happen to people like me, people like you and me, people with like addiction issues. And I mean, that's a statistical fact. I mean, most of us die. Like that's just what it is. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where like in the 9th step, like, are these extravagant promises, you know? And I think Mike and I mentioned this on our episode. We went to so many meetings together, like in early sobriety through like the first few years. And we would, like early on, we would sit there while they read those at the end of our home group, like after every meeting, I think. Or maybe it was just the beginner's meeting, but whatever. Excuse me. And they would say, "We think not." And we would be like, what?
I think they're extravagant.
Yeah, dude, that's some wild shit. Like I'm never gonna, like there's gonna be a point where I don't worry about money. I'm gonna have like this sense of community around me and like a sense of belonging and all this other shit. And I'm just like, you sure about that? Like I don't, it's a bit far fetched for me, but and I think it's best like summarized by like beyond my wildest dreams was waking up one day and like that like vulture like on the bedpost of like waking me up every morning and reminding me like I'm a piece of shit with the heroin and alcohol problem, and you just stole the last bit of money from your mom's purse yesterday, so you know that there's none in there today, so you got to figure out another way to get it. That's going to involve you like getting up out of bed, out of the house, and trying to do whatever you have to do. And then you're going to have to take that 3.5 hour round trip walk over to Southwest Philly and all this other shit. And oh, by the way, like you're unemployed and this girl that like you really liked for a while, this girl that you were with for 4 years and like cheated on for like how many times and is like now finally like broke free from that emotional hold that you had on her and woke up and was like, I gotta fucking leave this dude. Now you're alone again. And like, you know what I mean? Like all that shit beyond my wildest dreams was one day waking up and none of that was applicable to me anymore. But it's gone so far past that, you know what I mean? And there's certain milestones that remind you of like how far you've come and remind you that you're doing the right thing over and over and over again when like in the moment on a daily basis. So like practically you are still comparing yourself and still seeing yourself as falling short, even though by all measures and metrics based on how you used to be, you're doing pretty fucking great, you know? And like there's just these little things that happen that just refill you with like that gratitude and remind you of how far that you've come and how much work you've actually done. And the wedding was one of those moments. And if I tried to say that in the moment when I forgot I had to fucking talk right before dinner, like it would have been a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, but that's definitely what I meant to say. And the fact that there were like over 100 people there when my parents couldn't even be around me and had to throw me out of the house one day, like it's fucking insane.
Yeah, dude. So first thing I loved that you talked about was like, so I like to call that the impending doom. And when I was at my worst, you know, living in your old neighborhood on like a mattress on the floor, no job, no cable because it got shut off, and my roommate, who was graceful enough to put up with me, wouldn't pay for it all, right? Like that was the hardest part, was knowing it's always going to get worse. Like I knew that. And I would wake up with that every day, right? Like I'm gonna have to let this get really bad again. Yeah. Like I can't, let's say I woke up in the morning and I had 5 cigarettes and 2 bags and some ramen noodles left in the cabinet, right? It's a pretty good day for me where I was living, right? It's a good start to the day.
Yeah.
But I knew that it wasn't going to be able to stay there. And I think that like beyond my wildest dreams at first was waking up like, I don't know, maybe 4, 5, 6 months into recovery after rehab in jail. And I realized like, yo, you don't have to have a disaster strike today or tomorrow. Like you don't have to like go to the worst place you've ever been. And like once that was gone, dude, and I could just sit, that was a big part of my like skin fitting again. You know, like my sponsor used to kind of say in conversations with me and like occasionally when he spoke, you know, he used to say, anybody can get sober, literally anybody. If they put handcuffs on you and take you to jail, you're sober. If you go in for a surgical procedure, forget about the anesthesia, you're sober. If I don't know, whatever happens, you're sober. But in order to stay sober, you have to figure out how to make your skin fit again. Yeah. And I think that's like the spiritual part. But dude,
for sure.
Doom going away, that was the fucking best, man.
I know, man. And like that's all I wanted when I was still in the thick of it. All I wanted was just that blanket of doom, as you call it, and negativity and complete and utter like, what's the word I want? Like befuddlement, like whatever, like the present term of like being baffled is. Like I was, and just that sense of like, how the fuck do I fix it, but still get to do everything that I'm doing right now? Like, and it was just that for so long. So the fact that like really, really grand and like miraculous things are happening on the flip side, and there's so much more beyond just like doom being gone is just fucking crazy. Yeah. So that's my update. And like now we're back to work, doing all this stuff. Just trying to get life going. See if we get a good little like housing market dip. Maybe like slide into a place or something. Yeah. What do you got? What's new with you?
Basement. Work is going fantastic. Sports teams are playing really well. That green right there, really well.
Go Birds.
My Sixers better.
Joel dropped over 30, didn't he?
He did, dude.
With the mask.
Dude, I'm just I think it was 34 last night.
Okay.
Like I'm just loving how the young guys are contributing, dude. Like when I look at I unfortunately don't watch a lot of games this year, and I watched a ton last year.
You did.
It shows how truly fair weather I am. Yeah. I'll just own it, dude. I know it's our gig, right?
Yeah.
But like these young guys putting up, 12, 15, 20 to take the load off of Maxey, George, and Embiid is just sick.
Yeah.
Well,
Maxey's not that old, right?
No, he's a fucking beast, dude. Like, he's mid-20s, I think.
In terms of like load management.
Yeah, because like when one of them goes down in past years, like that was our issue the last 3 years, is you can't have Embiid not get hurt.
Yeah, like who else is there?
His knees are trash, dude.
That's what I've always heard, is like the main problem was like the supporting cast. Like that's how the Knicks beat them.
Yeah, and like if you go across other sports, like I don't know what it's like for the Flyers, but watch the Eagles try to play when AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are both out. It's Barkley and Hurts. Like they don't have much of another receiver that can take off the load.
Yeah, you'll just have Jalen Hurts, absolutely. Even though I have his jersey on, like I do like Jalen Hurts, but you will have him just sailing balls over Johnny Wilson, who is like just one of the tallest, probably the tallest player in the league.
Dude, like
I just don't get how the fuck
6'7".
that. Yeah, dude, he's just like a big. That's like doing really bad at like a passing carnival game, like on like the fucking boardwalk or some shit. You know what I mean? He's just this big gangly. I mean, he's pretty filled out, but like he's just this big fucking dude, and I just don't get how you sail it over his fucking head. The guy's massive. But, I mean, that was just one play. Whatever. But it's just that fucking sticks in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, the supporting cast, dude, just watching that develop, I still don't think the Sixers are good enough to be contenders. I mean, like, they're very much...
bottom of the table?
Yeah, I think they're in, like, 12th place right now. And luckily in the NBA, almost everybody gets in. Like I feel like more and more sports are changing rules so that more and more teams get into the playoffs.
I don't like that.
Am I right that the NFL switched it from 2 wild card teams to 3?
Oh, you're asking the wrong dude.
Yeah, I think
I only started like actually following football, like as like most football fans, like enough to like talk about it with other people like 2 years ago. Maybe.
Yeah,
not even like the Super Bowl year, because I was still just like, oh, whatever. I was just being stubborn.
Yup. Yeah, but no, other than that, dude, just working and trying to fucking grow and like get my little disciplines back on track and food prepping and no vacation time, no national parks or nothing, dude. Just going into like blackout focus mode.
Okay, nice.
So
yeah, I don't have any time that I can take until. It's actually nice because I ended up kind of taking my time like towards the later part of my year, my work year. And which doesn't follow the calendar year. Like it started like late March, I think. And so I took it all in late November, early December, and then I'll have all of my time back in March. And more than I got when I had my first hire, because then you just get like a partial amount. So yeah, I just kind of have to hang out for a little while. Then by the time like the weather starts to roll around and shit, and the house in I forget where exactly it is, like Manahawkin or Tuckerton, like one of those spots over there, like near LBI. Mm-hmm. And then the house that's getting built there will be done, and then Madeline and I will get to be there like all the time, which will be really cool. Super grateful for that.
And that'll be like the summer months this year. It'll be done.
It'll be done before that.
Nice.
They already have. They're putting drywall up right now.
And who owns that house?
Grandmother.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's sick, man. I still gotta get out there.
And her husband. What was that?
I still gotta get out there to that area.
I'm very surprised Lauren hasn't brought you, dude. Like her family's like got stuff out there. It's like, it's not an attraction spot, and like that's why I think a lot of people don't know about it or haven't really gone there. Just like Brigantine isn't really like attraction, you know, from what I remember. Like I stayed down there for a weekend, I think in high school, maybe a little bit afterwards. And it was very much just kind of like a town that just happened to have a beach there. Like it was pretty cool. Like Surf City's a little more, or I'm sorry, Surf City is a town like on the island, but I guess it's like a little more low key even than Brigantine is. And, there's just a lot of fuck you money on that island, dude. Like we're talking like $10 to $15 million beach houses, like some that are rentals like exclusively to like celebrities and shit. And but the town, that's like one specific section, and then all the rest is like, I mean, still expensive as shit, but not that big. And but it's just so chill, dude. It's such a chill spot. Yeah, I love it. So we'll get to, but the town that they're having the house built in is like 15 minutes off the island, maybe. So that'll be nice. What else do we got? Ollie, come on, bud. Flyers are definitely. Ollie, come here, bud. Come here. You gotta stop with the ball, buddy. I know. Flyers are, I think, playing how they're supposed to be playing right now. I don't know if people will disagree with that or not. I don't even know if anybody that listens to this really follows hockey like that. But, yeah, we're just like, we just look so lost sometimes. We get controlled very easily. As soon as like, it seems like against a lot of teams when we spend like, if the team is in our offensive zone for like 30 seconds, we start to like play on the back heels a little bit. We just lost like 7-3 against the Kings, who could very well be like a cup team this year, honestly. And they don't even have like their best defenseman got hurt in the preseason. He's not even playing right now. We're just we're a rebuilding team, you know. There's a couple people that like I talk to. The amount of people I could talk to about hockey is like so limited compared to football. It's frustrating, honestly. But like, and they like want them to like, so many people, both like on like the online fan base and the few people that I talk to in person, all want like these big trades and everything to be made. And they're always like talking to me about like, oh dude, I hope Danny Briere does something and like all this. It's like at the beginning of the year, he said, it's very much we very much plan to take a step back this year because they overperformed last year and the whole Metro division was shitting the bed for whatever fucking reason. And like, we're going to look worse. We're probably not going to make any trades because we're not ready to be in the playoffs yet. And we have a lot of dead cap space. So it's going to be a very like down year, and we're probably going to play worse. Bobby.
Yeah, man, you got to be a real fan to tune in during that time. Like how many you watch a lot of Flyers games, right? Like
every
beginning
game.
To end, pretty
every
much.
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You're a real fan, dude. You're for our
hockey,
city.
Man.
You're a real fan.
I love hockey, and like I try to watch like any hockey game that I can. I watch most. I don't even know if I can really say most. I watch probably, if you tallied all of it at the end of the season, I probably watch like at least like 65% of the games that happen around the league period. I just love hockey so much. There's no point in doing any trades or anything right now for us. There's just not. I mean, like, we have like pieces that can be moved, pieces that maybe should have been moved before that we still need to move. And these players' trade values are lessened now than if we would have traded them before when we first had the chance to. But like, and I'm not saying like what like the new ownership and everything or what the new front office is doing is like going to work, because I don't know what, but they came out and said what the fuck they're doing. And I don't see the point in speculating and like finding like, I set my expectations based on what they said, which is like, we're probably going to fucking suck. And it's going to seem like we're not really going to do anything about it because we have no money and we just fucking can't. Like next year, the cap's going to go up by a lot. And that's basically official now. Like the cap's going to go up quite a bit. And there's no point in making big trades if we don't even know if we can crack a fucking playoff spot yet. There's just no point. There's no point in doing it, especially if you can't fucking pay for it. Like I just, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I fucking hate that part of sports, dude. When like the fans they start making moves to just save money, like the business side of the sport comes in, offloading good players or just doing nothing and just still trying to sell tickets and make it a good time at the game and shit. Like I hate that, dude.
I mean, it's like I do like what they're doing, and like we are like developing the core that we are developing. I think while they're not producing in terms of like results on the ice, I think a lot of guys are looking a lot stronger than they did last year. I just think the league is different this year. I mean, every year, right? Like there's like player turnover or whatever. I just think it's a more competitive season, and they're just not ready to be in that kind of competition yet. But our Russian dude is killing it. Probably he's the favorite right now to win Rookie of the Year. Should, as of right now. I don't know whether it's going to happen later on in the season. But, we play Columbus tonight, 7:00. And, I don't know. We'll see what happens. No matter what happens, I mean, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. And if they do, they're not going to go far. I mean, I just don't know why people are getting so worked up.
Yeah, real quick, while you talk about schedules for today, what are the NFL games again today?
Chiefs and Texans. Don't know where. I don't know where the games are. But it's Chiefs and Texans and Steelers and Ravens. Steelers and Ravens are at 5. Chiefs and Texans are at 1. Want the Chiefs to lose because I don't like the Chiefs. For the same reason I didn't like the Patriots when they were winning all the time. Just because they're good, I guess. Call me like a good player hater. Like I kind of am. They just get annoying to see all the time. But I'm excited for the Steelers and Ravens game, even though I kind of think it's going to kind of be like a field goal battle.
You think it'll be a defensive front?
Yeah, but like but I don't even know. I feel like the Ravens are going to win, and the Ravens are going to win by like, I don't think they're going to get a lot of touchdowns though. I feel like the Steelers could potentially not score at all, and the Ravens win by like 3 field goals or something like that. Like
what's Pickens' status?
He's not playing. I don't think.
Oh fuck.
I don't think. Now I don't want to sound like a dickhead. Let's see here.
I'm interested to see what the Ravens will do because you can't run on the Steelers all that much. So Henry will be very much contained.
I don't know. It looks like they have more than one injury ruled out, the Steelers. Oh, Deshaun Elliott's out. He's like big in their run defense for the Steelers. Maybe it'll be more wide open. But I mean, and we are basically the best defense in the league right now, the Birds. So like I don't know what, and like Baltimore like gets scored on, kind of. But I still think without their receiver, they're not going to do too much. I mean, I really like Najee Harris, but yeah, I don't know.
He's a 2 though. Like I always look at player value in terms of fantasy. He's a running back 2 all day. You know, he's not an explosive running back 1.
Yeah. Although my parlays have not hit once this year. I do a lot of like 13 pick long shots, but
I maxed out my limit again. I'm not gonna be able to.
What's your limit? You don't got to put yourself out there, but
$25 a week.
Oh, my parlays, I only put in I have to be able to win at least $500 on $10. That's where like my parlays end. I always only put in $10 a week. That's my thing. If it doesn't hit, then sometimes I'll try the 4:00 window if I think I can string something together that's possible. Yeah. Closest I ever got was like that one game. It was like, I don't think it was too long after Dak got hurt. And I had like a 10 leg that would have won me like $1,080. And the only thing that didn't hit was CD Lamb getting 50 yards. 50 fucking yards was the only thing that didn't hit. And I was so heated, dude. So heated.
Yeah, the worst is when like the guarantee of your parlay goes down. So like you know how like Vegas is so smart. You always have like a guarantee, a likely, a maybe, and a doubtful on the big like multi-leg parlays.
Okay.
And you're watching the game, the unlikely happens. You're like, oh fuck, you know your wishes go way, your hopes go way up, and then the guaranteed happens. You're like, that I knew that was gonna happen. And you're waiting for the like likely, and it doesn't happen. Like for one game for me, it was Christian McCaffrey getting 35 pass yards. He always gets 35 pass yards.
Damn.
You know, so dude, I hate when
that wasn't in the snow, was it?
No.
Okay.
No, but I hate when the one or two that you're banking on doesn't go down. Dude.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck you, Vegas. You know everything. Yeah. I don't even know why we bet against you.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I got to put something together for today. I don't even know. I didn't even look at everything.
I got to put something together too and get Lauren to put money on her FanDuel, and I'll
junkie. Oh shit.
It's good for me, dude. It's good.
Yeah.
You know.
I always say, like, dude, all I need is one of these to hit, and like all of the ones I've done all season, even if I win like $200, that makes up for every $10 that I spent all season. So like, come on. I always pick like a lot of like more than guaranteeds. Some that are like minus like the odds are like 6 or 7, you know, just like shit that like you'd have to bet a lot of money to just win a little bit. And I put like a bunch of those together, and then I look at like more intricately how I think like the flow of the game is going to go. And then I look at quarterbacks, and quarterback passing yards are big that I go to. I'm starting to go like away from the anytime touchdown scorers, because like I did that with Justin Jefferson like 3 weeks in a row, and he just, what the fuck was that? Like, how long of a stretch was it where he didn't have a fucking touchdown? Like,
7 weeks, I think.
Like, what? Are you kidding me? And yeah.
Dude, they're running their whole defensive schemes on him, dude, which is just freeing up Jordan Addison.
Right.
Like, I got to go against Jordan Addison this week, and it might be a 30 piece for him because they're putting their whole defensive plan together around him.
Yeah.
Just double teaming the shit out of him. And usually he can overcome that, but you know.
So I get some guarantees in there: quarterback passing yards, passing touchdowns. I pick Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown every week, because
sneak.
Someone's always gonna be down at the 2 or the 1.
No. This week we need Barkley in, bro. I need a big week out of Barkley. So Barkley's on the top of the projection list this week. I need a big game out of him.
Washington's run defense isn't really all that, right?
I think they're middle of the pack, yeah.
Okay.
Last time they played, he got 32 points.
Oh, well, yeah. You gonna do with that?
But I just, it's the playoffs and fantasy. Like, let's get on with it.
Oh, shit. Yeah. So maybe the Flyers win tonight, Birds win tomorrow. That'd be cool. So with all that being said, I had thought of something to base, like, I guess, the recovery portion of this podcast. The recovery is a portion now of this episode, but we had like an update and like a whole sports thing, so it's whatever. I don't really care. So this is the time of year, right? Around like, this is one of the few holidays where like you don't get it with like Halloween or I don't fucking know, dude, or like President's Day or anything, but like this is one of the holidays where people gather around in the meetings or like in their own head, and they're like, they start to worry about like drinking again and shit like that. If it sounds like I'm downplaying it, it's because it doesn't matter to me. I mean, that's just my experience, and I shared this on Monday at this meeting right around the corner from here. And and everything that I have to say about it is very fucking corny and like cliche, and would probably make people, if I heard somebody else say something to this effect, like in this realm of speech, I would be like, all right, you fucking dickhead. Like, that's what I would say. But the holidays were no different to me. The only difference of a holiday was because I got sober when I was pretty young, very young by like a lot of people's standards. The only thing that was different was like I could get free money, and then I could get high instead of having to do stuff to get money and then get high. Like, and all I had to do was like go and weather my family for a little while, get the card. Thank you. Very good. Good to see you. Thanks for your food as well. And all of your drinks and everything. And the water that I used in your fucking toilet. You know what I mean? Just like, and then just leave and then do my thing. Excuse me. Like, that was the only difference in holidays. And then it was not even going anywhere. Because like the times got way darker. But like, and even like right when I first got sober, I wasn't worried about drinking or anything, like anywhere. I didn't have to worry about drugs really, because I mean, nobody hands out drugs at a family party, right? So like, but like the alcohol was as much a part of like my problem as heroin was. But I just never, maybe it's because I got sober so young. Like, I didn't spend a lot of my time around my family getting drunk on the alcohol that was there. A lot of times I had gotten high before, during, or right after. And so maybe it's just because of my experience. But like, what's your experience with the whole holiday thing in terms of being sober?
Pretty much exact same thing you just laid out. Like I never really had like a certain like difficult memory moment around the holidays. And I guess I get that some people do, man, but I kind of chalk this up to like sort of a bigger topic that surrounds like, I'll use the word reservations loosely, and I don't really like want it to go too far. Like what I mean by it is, I notice that some people I'm around, they have these these things in their mind that they tell themselves are hard. Like summer is going to be so tough as a drinker, or like, or like Thanksgiving, the night before Thanksgiving is going to be so hard. Yeah. And sometimes, kind of like how you were saying with like people that have this mindset, like I just don't think anybody really gave it any credit when I was getting sober. Like if I would have said something like that to the group I was around when I was getting sober, they would have given it no attention. Okay. Like, bro, I think it's going to be so hard at Thanksgiving. They would have just been like, why? Like, do what you do every other time of the year. Yeah. Like we're working on ourselves. We're hitting meetings. Like I sometimes believe that things are barriers if you make them barriers.
Yeah. It's all perception.
Yeah. Like why create a barrier that you re-experience over and over again, right, when you could just allow yourself in time to have a perspective shift?
And this just to interject, like this isn't saying that like if you feel that way it's wrong, right? Or and it's also not like fucking suck it up, you pussy, right? Like it's not saying it that way. Like, just to like clarify, it's like you have one perspective and there is a different one that you can achieve that's out there for you if you want it. I don't know why you wouldn't. Makes life easier, 100%. But this other way of thinking is out there as well. Yeah.
No, I love that you threw that out, dude, because this is kind of like a page 100 type of thing, right? And page 100, just for like anybody listening, is where, you know, the writers of the book are basically telling us we can be free. We're not, after all of this, like, you know, layout of work and steps to be done and context and identification and everything else, the writer is basically like, we can be free. We don't have to fear alcohol. We don't have to like
avoid places where it is.
Exactly.
Like yeah.
He's basically smashing in a very hopeful way the people, places, and things mentality that has shot through the rehab world for fucking decades. Right? Yeah. He's basically saying like, no, we're not teaching you sobriety. We're trying to teach you a way of freedom.
Exactly.
Because if you don't get the freedom, you won't maintain sobriety long term. Right? And like in that, I think that it's so amazing how like like you said, dude, I can believe that if I let myself, but I have to challenge my mental story.
But there's also the fact that you will also not be a victim anymore if you change your mind about it, which some people might not want to admit or think that like that's in there, like affecting it. I think it absolutely is. Like, I'm also of like the mindset where we've gotten a little bit away from like relating a lot of the podcasts to like real, like normal people, but it's, I think it's another way that people feel special. You know what I mean? I don't have too much more to say on that, but like, and I'm so glad you brought up the page 100 thing, because like that's when I hear a lot of what people talk about in meetings that have like been around for like a little bit, like 1 to 3 years maybe, and they or even people that are sharing about these kind of struggles that they face around holidays or like important days, and somebody else is saying like, oh, it'll be okay, and like this, that, and the third, and kind of giving them like solutions for when your cravings do kick in, and not questioning whether or not you can like whether or not they actually have to be there. Like, I just, that's exactly what I think back to, is just like, we are not here to learn how to be comfortable while low-key white-knuckling avoidance to this one specific thing. It's like we are trying to like restart ourselves with like some new software on how to integrate ourselves with all of these things. Like, not like getting drunk successfully or high successfully or anything like that, but we cannot change the outside world, nor should we want the outside world. I mean, maybe that's like not a proper thing to say. We can't change the outside world, and we can't expect the outside world to change for us, because one of the first things that you learn when you come into these rooms is you're not that fucking important, bud. And with all the love in the world in that statement, right? And what a freeing thing that is. So like, if the alcohol is always going to be there, and where your family is that you say like you want to be closer to, you got to learn how to fucking live with it. And it doesn't have to be, just like all the rest of sobriety doesn't have to be like this, like a balled up fist with like literal like white knuckles filled with tension. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. And I mean, like, one of my favorite spots to get a burger is Casey's, like right around the corner from here on 30. It's so fucking crazy, dude. Like how good they are. They cook a burger better. You know what's weird? I'm going to go on a little tangent here. How come like some of the most unassuming spots that you can get a burger know how to cook a fucking burger, dude? Other places I know, like, okay, so like I got to order like rare here because like if I get like medium, it'll be like well done. And I have to get medium rare here because they can't really find that medium sweet spot. But like I go to Casey's, dude, and I say what I want and they give me what I asked for.
Every time.
There are some fucking steakhouses that can't fucking do that shit, dude. And what is up with that? It blows my mind.
I think it's how much one or two people give a fuck.
It blows my
I
fucking
really
mind,
do,
dude.
dude. Like I just think it's how much like the owner or the cook or whoever gives a fuck. Because like one of the things I think on the burger topic, so I absolutely fucking I grew up a fast food kid.
Yes.
So I don't think I ever really appreciated a quality burger. I think I just put it as many of them in my face as I could, right?
I didn't start to care until I started wanting all of my meats done, all of my red meat done less.
Yep.
In sobriety.
And what I kind of realized about burgers is like it's all about the fucking seasoning, dude.
Well, for sure. That too.
There are so many places that slap a burger down on the grill with no salt or pepper or anything like that.
S&P at least, dude. You got to at least S&P that shit.
I used to go to a recovery house in like the Coatesville area to work with sponsees. So this place was all about Big Book Step Study. They're a big BBSS house. And
sorry. For some reason that sounded like a porn category.
I love it, dude.
It's like, is that a hostel you went to overseas or something?
Anybody watching this, ask yourself if your head just went there. So I'd go to this house because a lot of times like the owner would throw my name out there to people who didn't want to do that path. Yeah. Like there were just certain people who were like, fuck this, I'm not filling 2 notebooks with people I know. Like, do you have another way to do the steps? But anyway, I'd go over there, work with people, and they'd always be cooking dinner. And dude would always offer me a plate. Mm-hmm. And he made the best fucking burgers, dude. And all he would do is just season the living shit out of them and cook them a nice medium.
Yeah, dude. I'm very amateur on the grill. We're going to get back to the topic at hand. But like, I feel very passionate about this. I mean, like I was a food guy, like before I got sober for sure. I didn't care that much about it. I was a picky eater. I probably didn't eat like 50% of the things that I eat now back then. But now like a good food spot is like a fucking, I mean, you and I have these conversations all the time. But like when I do it, I get like garlic and onion powder, and then I get something, usually something McCormick's, whether it's a burger seasoning, a Montreal steak seasoning. I put something with like a lot of flavor in on that burger. Like, and I'm still trying to practice how to get the cook down myself. Ollie's being very attention whorey right now. Dude. He is bored. I feel for the kid.
He's like, you took my tennis ball. You got this dude over.
Well, Ollie, you can't be squeaking in the fucking background, dude. All right. And I don't, if you're gonna work at like, especially like a bar somewhere. I mean, like Casey's fabulous job. But if you're gonna work somewhere like a meat house, like a steak house, I feel like part of your application should be cook me a burger at each one of the 5 temperatures right now. Right now. First try, do it. If not, sorry, bud. Go back and practice, maybe come back next year, whatever, dude. I don't get it, dude. I don't get it.
It's all about whether the business gives a shit about it, though, dude. Like one of the things I've noticed about, I learned a lot about this in business school. You'd be surprised how many establishments do not care about the partial product offering they have. So like you know, everybody runs to Wawa for gas.
Yes.
Well, guess what? Wawa doesn't give a flying fuck about gas. The only reason they carry gas is because they know people run in and buy donuts and Italian hoagies and sodas and everything else.
The only reason I go there is because I get rewards, and if you reach a certain point, you get 30 cents off a gallon. That's the only reason I go there. Mm-hmm. Every other time I go to Sunoco. So
they use the lowest bottom of the barrel gas that is known to clog fuel injectors because they just don't care, right? If you get a bar that has a really good happy hour or just regular alcohol sale clientele.
Oh, Casey's is always packed, dude.
The owner might not give a fuck about food.
Yeah.
You're gonna get your buzz on. You're gonna eat it, even if it's not good. So I think it's all about whether or not they give a fuck. But yo, back to the topic at hand, right?
Yes. I did write it down so we could get back to.
I was thinking about this. Like, I think that this little holiday tough time of sobriety thing that we're hitting on, it kind of begs for a little bit of like a different discussion of, see, like, this is why an example like this is why spirituality and recovery by the book is a much harder sell than sobriety. So like, there are a lot of people that I talk to, and like you clarified earlier, I'm in no way judging anyone's path, right?
Yeah.
They want to stay sober, and they want to spend their time and effort putting guardrails up against their triggers and their habits to protect that sobriety and just ride that train forward.
Yeah, they still want an outside solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Case in point, right? While I don't see myself as a gambling addict, the reason why I have guardrails up on my phone is because I haven't addressed the fucking problem, right? So I put a $25 a week
You've made Laura
limit.
part of the problem.
Yes. I put a $25 a week limit on my online gambling, sports betting, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think I spend a week guaranteed?
Over that.
No, $25.
Oh.
So I put a guardrail up against my behavior,
My addict mind. Yeah.
which guarantees that I reach the limit of the fucking guardrail I put up.
Understandable.
But if I were to actually address the problem and develop a new perspective, like you said, at a time where I'm trying to save money, I wouldn't be wasting $100 a month on this dumb shit, right? So if we go back to recovery for a second, like when I'm working with a new guy, I can always kind of tell in time, not right away, right, what it seems like they're looking for. Are you looking for like a stay sober solution? I know that that's going to be at the core of what you're looking for. Or do you really want to like get that freedom that everybody's promising you, right? And dude, I just really think that like that's what it comes down to. So much of what we do is like, if you want a guardrail, stay sober, protect it, and move forward solution, it's everywhere out there. But the one that's harder to build is like, no, we're going to take your fears about Christmas and like actually look at them a little bit more and encourage you with some shit available to try to get a different view.
Yeah, dude.
And that's the fucking hardest part, dude.
No, for sure. And my mind is racing with stuff like,
I was just teeing us up, dude.
No.
I was just we're at perfect driving height. You're up on the tee, dude. Let's see it.
There's shit, dude. There's so much. I don't even know if I could say one of them. You ever have that happen? I'm not gonna get us sidetracked again. I promise. Although just do your fucking burgers properly.
If you care, but you might not.
You are a grill guy. Make a proper fucking sandwich, dude. Whatever. It's like there's a lot of like the promises aren't gotten, freedom isn't, the promises aren't received, and freedom isn't received. Relief of your fears in uncomfortable situations around alcohol or drugs or whatever is not received purely by abstinence. It's also not received by half measures if you are doing the steps. It's like, it's the same thing of, so like we see this, like it's extremely similar to when we thought like we couldn't live life with or without a drug, right? All of a sudden we do all this other shit that I didn't think was going to help, and it worked. Now I have that experience. The ability to coexist around alcohol and have it not fucking bat an eye at it, or if you do think about it, it just flies through your fucking mind and like it's whatever, and then you go back to having a good time, also seems impossible to a lot of people. But if you do all this other stuff, just like when you thought you would never be able to stop drinking physically, the intangible part of that is also very much like attainable. There's just some stuff we have to do, just like stuff you had to do to stop physically drinking. There's stuff that has to be done to handle the intangible parts of that happen behind people's eyes. Like, there's something you can do to, or there are things that you can do to, like, in that moment when you, like, you walk in the house, right? I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Merry Christmas, this, that, and the third. How's the dog? How's the wife? Very good. And then you see that drink. And maybe even before that, like, when you wake up that morning, maybe it's been like a week you've been thinking about, like, going to the party. And it's just in the back of your mind, like, constantly, like, oh my God, like, how am I going to do this and not drink? How am I going to do this and not drink? All of those practically experienced moments with your mind and your emotions and perceptions, all of that shit, just like when you thought, how do I not have this bottle in my hand anymore, can be fixed. They can be handled. I'm not saying that, like, right away. It was easy for me, like I said, because I don't know if my getting sober so young and me not associating family with alcohol, really, because I was like, I didn't get sober. I mean, I got sober when I was 22. Like, I'm sure they would have let me drink before then. It wasn't often though. But, and like, I'm not saying like early on, you can go into anywhere, like at 3 months sober, like right after you had like your 1, 2, and 3 conversation or whatever, like you can go into Casey's, order like a burger that's done right and not get a beer. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I just see people that talk about this like every year, you know what I mean? That I've been sober for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And some of them are associated with like other things that happened around that time. Like, I know people who have lost their family around Christmas time, drank heavily around then. Whole holiday season is just really fucking hard for them. I still think there's room to grow beyond that, but that's also me not having experience in the situation, so I may as well not even say that. There's ways to handle like the intangibles, dude, just like everything else. It's just another fear. It's just another emotion. We have switched from the external solutions, guardrails, all this other stuff that you mentioned. We have switched from that into internal solutions. So we can, and that is how we transcend through any situation that we can experience in the physical realm, because our solution is inside. The inside experiences don't change, right? Like, heartbreak is still heartbreak, death is still death, loss is still loss, fear is still fear, anger is still anger, all of it. The outside changes, and that's why it dances around us sometimes, because it's like there are new conditions that our brain hasn't associated with solution yet. So like sometimes they can slip through us, and that's why we need to keep on the spiritual beam, right? But like all of these experiences are transcendent, like I said, and that's why we are internal now, because that allows us to deal with not only situations that make us angry, but we get to deal with anger. So it doesn't fucking matter what makes us angry, because we can deal with anger itself. The whole alcohol thing is the same fucking thing.
So in your experience, right, how much of like a person you work with or a friend of yours, like we'll go at like a sponsor capacity and just like a brother in arms and recovery type capacity, how much of that do you attribute to helping people identify an internal problem? So like, because you just made the parallel of, we don't seek external solutions anymore, we go internal. Mm-hmm. But I think that for me, I know I kind of asked you a question and now I'm talking again.
No,
but
I need a clarification
me,
anyway. Yeah.
For me, the hardest thing is if a person doesn't see that their problem is internal they struggle so much to start doing internal work. Every time they call you, it's the holidays and my boss and my family and my medication and my psychiatrist. Like, it's all external. And I just, like, for me, I feel like I spend so much time in the early steps trying to help people see they have an internal problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely, I just gotta make sure I'm understanding like what you're asking me. Like, I think it does have to do with a lot of how like honest people are willing to be. You know what I mean? Because like, how many people did we meet at RCA that are just like, I don't have all these like they compare themselves right out of the realm of like possibly being helped by the program, right? Like we say, like comparing ourselves out of the rooms. We're like, oh, I don't have any of this external stuff, so like I don't really think anything you guys are talking about applies to me. Some of those people can be convinced that like we're not talking about that. But yeah, I mean it's a fair point. Like if people don't really think that the problem is like themselves. But I don't know, because like I still experience, excuse me, like quite a bit of people that have the vernacular, right? I mean, like it's easy to say one thing and do another, but that say like this, that, and the third about like spiritual malady and all of that, and will like recite the doctor's opinion word for word, but like can't do the fucking holidays because of alcohol. Like I don't know, man. I think it's, and I'm such like an internal guy because the one thing that sold me on the whole program was the fact that somebody else that I have never met before, the two people that were doing the big book study in my recovery house in South Philly when I first got there, two people that I had never met before, speaking to a room full of people that were agreeing with these people that I've never met before, never met any of these people before, were reading out of a book that was written at that point, what was it, like 70 years prior, or like 70 to 75 years prior, by people, of course, that I had never met, right? Because all those people are dead now. And talking about ways that I felt, feelings that I had never expressed to anybody, like my deep and darkest emotions of like fear and paranoia and malcontent and discontent and dishonesty and shame and guilt and all of this shit that I just thought I was kind of alone in. And it was so, that's what convinced me to like try a little bit, was the fact that all of these people that would have no fucking way of knowing how I feel talked about how I felt. And that convinced me so much to like the internal portion, because like I said before, all I want to do is feel okay. Like, and these people looked like they felt okay and talked about how they didn't feel okay before, and their way of not feeling okay sounds a lot like how I don't feel okay at that present moment. So like maybe they have something going on.
See, that exactly is what I was getting at right there. So like another side of recovery talk, the internal side was talked about and it made an impact on you. I had the exact same experience, dude. Like I heard people talk about the bedevilments. I heard people talk about getting sober, thinking all is well, and then you get uncomfortable and miserable, and eventually you go back again. And that fucking spoke to me, because that was my experience over and over again. So I think your example is exactly what I was getting at. Like, you got shown that an internal issue was driving you, and you apparently started to take a look at it. And I really think that that's where the magic starts to happen, dude, because I've had a lot of, there's a lot of other meetings you'll go to where it's all about like staying sober during the holidays and not taking the first one, and meeting makers make it, and all that stuff. Again, disclaimer, no judgment. Right. But when you hear people talk, they're not talking about internal. Yeah. You know, so I just really think that like that's something as an AA member and just a guy who's in recovery in my environment, I've struggled with that. It's like, well, like, this is what enabled me to rebuild my life, literally rebuild like the most beautiful moments. It's not because I put heroin down. That was a byproduct.
Right.
It's because I was encouraged and shown by people that I don't have a drug and alcohol problem. I have a drug and alcohol solution. So therefore, I'm not gonna allow my mind to take me to putting a drug and alcohol environment on a pedestal, because we're working on another problem now. And that problem is the fact that I'm not comfortable in my own skin. I'm socially awkward, right? I don't feel connected at any given moment. I don't know who I'm supposed to become or how to get there or how to just feel like I'm on the right path.
Right.
That's my fucking problem. That's what I medicated for decades.
Yeah.
But it's, dude, I just get so passionate about it because, like, when people tune into that shit, everything fucking changes and the steps and everything else start to make sense. But if I'm all focused on all the external stuff, dude, it never does, ever.
I also do think there is a bit of, like, I don't want to, like, critique the program or anything, but God was put out there to me as, like, pretty much the utmost importance as far as, like, what my life is to consist of in terms of, like, tools for growth and things that are going to benefit me in the long run regarding, like, the steps in the program as a whole. It was like down in, I mean, like, how many stories in South Philly are you going to hear is like, oh, you know, I was raised Catholic. Like, almost every fucking share, if you mention God in a meeting, they're going to talk about that. And it's just such, like, a God and spirituality, not like meditative kind of spirituality, but, like, I guess more like practical on, like, a widespread basis, like going to church and reading the Bible and all that stuff. So I don't know if, like, that's just what I was exposed to because that's what was in the water down there, but and I think, like, a thorough convincing that, like, there was something greater than me out there, and not even that much of a convincing, but a willingness to listen on my part, that there was something greater than me out there, and that at some point, I mean, a lot of, like, the advice that I hear is, like, and this is, like, great advice, and I'm not, like, knocking it, people will say, like, when you have those urges, like, call somebody, you can always leave, you know what I mean? Like, the situation regarding, like parties where there is alcohol present and you feel like you really might have a slip. And I encourage everybody to do that, like, if that's the case. But it doesn't happen for me, I think, because, and I don't have to do any of those things, strictly because it was told to me like this, like, if there's a time, and there very well could be a time when, like, your phone is dead for whatever reason, or nobody's answering, you've run out of numbers to call, because it does happen. Like, AA is always there, but people are human beings first, and people have lives, and, like, that's just a reality. It's not to knock anybody that doesn't answer. But there's going to be some point where, like, that happens, you can't make a meeting, and what the fuck are you going to do? And all you have in that moment is God, or whatever you choose to call God. And I took that very seriously. And me, like, instead of, like, going about, like, my daily life, like, conversing with myself in my fucking head, like, I replaced that with, like, a dialogue that's very, like, based in spirituality and, like, what I should be doing, what I'm supposed to be doing, and all of that stuff, because I was also told that God is within every man, woman, and child, right? That's why, like, there's this whole thing about, like, looking up or down when you're praying. It's like God is up there in heaven, but, like, we look down, like, towards hell when we're praying, and, like, what's that all about? And, like, I heard, it sounds so fucking stupid, but, like, I heard somebody say once, is like, I just close my eyes and just look straight, because I was told, like, God is within and not in either of those places, regardless. But, like, that's another reason why I focus so much internally, I think, is because I am taught to have a relationship with God who I feel in the spirit part of my body, right? Like right in the gut. And that's very much where I like physiologically feel it. I was taught that is my cornerstone now. So like that is what I turn to. So like if I ever do have that kind of thing, I go and pray. It's happened maybe 3 times over 8 years where I get a strong urge that I might drink. And 3, I think, is just like being gracious because I don't want to say none. But it just doesn't happen. And I think it's really because like I don't have to make anything adjust to me. I have to learn how to live within everything. And I do that with God. And like I said, I can use people and I have to leave, like go ahead and leave. But I have to be as God reliantly self-sufficient as I possibly can. I know those things might like sound like they cancel each other out, like God reliance and self-sufficiency, but that's how I maintain like efficiency, right? Is like by relying on God, which is an internal thing to me. And I guess that kind of wraps up everything that I was just saying.
Yeah, so like my experience with that, and I love how you kind of hit on the religion and spirituality in there, sort of the difference in the living practice, right? Mm-hmm. How a lot of people talk about like the I was Catholic thing, huge, especially in our home group, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But like I love that, man, because I was taught the exact same thing. It was like really thrown out there to me, and I was also taught that the best way to bring that out in the world in a living way is to try to be useful to somebody. Mm-hmm. And I just want to like throw out like 2 quick stories, right? So I have a guy that I'm working with that you and I both know, and he really struggles with his family on both sides when he goes and sees them. Now this is holidays, this is just chilling in general, right? Mm-hmm. He struggles. He's tried a lot of shit, man. He's tried praying before he goes. He's tried letting them know that he's got to go at a certain time to limit the damage, right? He's tried being quiet. He's tried talking a lot. He's tried a lot of shit, mm-hmm. and nothing's worked. Mm-hmm. So he called me Wednesday night and had gone over to his, I think it was his dad's house. And he called me all, you know these calls, dude, all fucking high on life, all happy, all like just really grateful. And he said like, dude, it went amazing. Like I had such a good time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm trying to like, the old me would have wanted to throw some little like 12-step proverb out there at him. But the new me's trying to be like, oh yeah, how'd you do it, dude? Like, tell me about it. And he said, I did a decent bit of praying earlier in the morning and on the way. And when I was there, I made it a point to not talk about me. So what I did was like, I would just ask my dad questions and like just keep asking follow-up things and like throw things out. And then I'd go over to somebody else. And I literally just did not talk about myself all that much at all.
Go figure.
I came up at points like where the conversation would go back to me, right? Mm-hmm. But I prayed and I just found ways to connect with people about them and talk about them.
You prayed a lot and acted in accordance with what a lot of people call God, which is love and connection.
Yep. So like look at that combination, which by the way is if you want to call it the takeaway of page 100. Page 100 says that the absolute best defense we have when feeling all tempted, worried about alcohol is go help somebody else.
There's vernacular in there that says like, I think it's around there where it talks about having new power, right? Like, and that's what, like, that's why like step 1 is, I don't know, man, like powerless without God against the first drink. Right. And 100% after the first drink. And I don't think anybody would dispute that. But like there is power like in the holster, like at the hip. You know what I mean? And we have that now where we didn't have it before. So that's why we're not entirely powerless now. Like you have the choice to pick up this shit that you've learned. And like that's what it is. I just think it's like it does matter which one you choose. And I don't want to judge any of them, but in terms of like what I have seen to be most effective in people actually enjoying the holidays without a worry in the world about drinking, it has always been how God reliant I am.
Dude, it's like, that's exactly what I was trying to get at by internal and external, right? Yeah. So quick other story about this same guy. Mm-hmm. So this guy has like an outside issue that he struggled with for quite some years. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of dabbled with like, therapy and a little bit of other fellowships and stuff. And it's just never gone anywhere. And he's at a point now where he's grateful with the direction he's heading into in recovery, working with the people, me and the people he's got in his life. Mm-hmm. But it's sort of like this other thing's kind of just been hanging out there and he's worried about it. He doesn't know what to do with it. But he's been getting into the prayer, getting into the service, working through steps 4 and 5, mm-hmm. working on like calling time out a little bit more and trying to go internal for 2 minutes throughout the day. Because when I encourage anyone to try something, I make it real fucking basic, dude. Yeah. Like, we're not going to get super deep and give you something that's unobtainable.
No, you need small attainable goals, like on the way to the big one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's been doing that. And I asked him the other day, like thrown into conversation, yo, how's that other thing going? Like, just out of curiosity, how's that like little pull you get toward that other thing? Mm-hmm. And he said, it hasn't been there as of late. Mm-hmm. So like, we just gotta like pause for a second and take that in, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so here's a guy who's been worried about this problem, this monster up on the fucking mantle in his mind for all these years.
Right.
He tries something that's in the spiritual direction that you and I are talking about, and all of a sudden it's not there at the moment. Mm-hmm. Like, it called in sick.
Right.
It's not an issue. Like, dude, like, but that is the most beautiful fucking part, man, is he had a different experience with this thing by not battling this thing. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say. It's just so fucking powerful.
It's the same exact way that we don't physically take drinks or drugs anymore. It's the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I came in and this is why I just like everything starts within you. Like, that's just what it is. Like, I came in and saw all the scrolls hanging down from all the meetings about like this, that, and the third, and none of them were saying like duct tape your hands around the holidays. None of them were saying just avoid places where like alcohol is, and like none of the things on the scrolls were talking about little quick tips to like keep in your pocket of just how to not drink. They were all about internal fucking work and like repairing damage, changing your perspectives, building better spiritual habits and taking care of yourself and others, and asking for help and like learning how to do all that. And it wasn't what I thought. I was like, you guys know I'm here for drinking and heroin, right? Like, what's all this other shit? Like, how is any of this gonna fucking work? And
then you have the one guy that essentially tells you, no, you're fucking not.
Yeah.
That's what you think you're here for, but you're not.
Exactly.
And dude, that's where all recovery communities split right there. Mm-hmm. That's where they all split, because, like our buddy Chris B mm-hmm. used to always try to tell patients that, like, from the fucking mountaintops, dude. He spent so much time trying to tell patients that, like, you have different packages available to you out there in the rooms and in the recovery world. You got is it gold, silver, bronze? I know that's such a dumb question.
What are you talking about?
Gold, silver, bronze medals.
Yeah.
Okay. You got the bronze medal, which is you don't drink or get high. You kind of just go out there and, like, live a pretty normal life and hopefully put it all together. You got the silver package, which is like you're doing more repair around you. Your quality of life's getting better, but you're still not quite where you want to be. And then you got the gold package, where you are not living thinking about yourself 24 hours a day. You can go where people go. You're laughing. You're full of joy. Like, dude, he would just like literally like, please take that package.
Yeah.
Take the gold package, please. Right? But, you know, my experience, not to go into like recovery controversy, is there's a big split in the road on those mentalities, dude.
There is.
You know?
Yeah, and I don't think, I mean, controversy in terms of like if people like take offense to it, you know what I mean? But like, and how obvious is that? But yeah, man, it's like, and the thing is like when you start to, and what I think, I don't know, dude, when you start to deal with all that stuff, especially like around the holidays internally, like you not only are like your worry about what you're going to experience, first of all, I think is like what is almost going to guarantee that you have that experience that you're worried about, and which can also be solved internally, like we kind of already alluded to. But that worry and all that stuff, like, and you're worried about how you're going to be able to enjoy the time without drinking or whatever. That's the only way you find that, is like having your mind not preoccupied by just like fucking holding on, or excuse me, or having that small worry in the back of your mind 24/7, like while you're at these parties or gatherings or whatever. Like if you're talking to me, if almost anybody is talking to me for whatever reason, I can just tell. I know that they have something on their mind. If they do, I know it. I know they do. A lot of times I just don't say anything because I feel like if people want to talk about it, they will. And we don't really need to get into that, but like if and you can tell that they're not present, right? So if you go into all of these family gatherings not present, you're missing so much of like what can make a holiday like this meaningful, and what can replace that worry with something to be excited about, right? Like you're going to miss that conversation of like how your relative that like you never really got that close with is doing, or like how like your nieces and nephews might be doing. Like you're going to miss all of that when you're going through all of the conversations, just kind of giving lip service and nods and, yeah, oh, that's really good. I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. But like in the back of your head, you have that worry that you woke up with that morning, like, and you're missing everything.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to talk about yourself in a way that you feel good about if that's how it's going in all your conversations when you're with your family, dude.
Everybody's going to see right through you.
Yeah, like you and I and so many of us have experienced this, right? Like try with 3 months sober narrating to your family members how your life's going. Good luck, right? So what are you doing? Not this and it, dude, you can't do it. Like you can't put out to people around you in your environment a personal narrative about how your life's going that anybody feels good about, that's not awkward. But you can ask grandma how she's recovering from her knee replacement. My grandma at 90 years old just got knee replacement.
Madeline's grandmother just had her hip replaced not too long ago.
Dude, it's like you can ask your dad how work's going, like what's new.
Yeah.
You know, you can go over there and offer to like help make the mashed potatoes, right? It's like there's all of these things that you can do. And the craziest part for me is all of the self-created problems disappear.
Yes. Because
they're only present when I'm putting everything through the narrative of me. If I'm pitching to you how I'm doing and I get a bad, awkward little exchange, now it's getting worse and getting worse, right? But like the only real way that the best way that I found to try to just have a good time and not be worried about drinking or getting high, like you talked about, is when I get out of me. It's literally AA's most, and it's not AA's, it's way more than that.
Yeah.
Most fucking genius, simple suggestion, dude.
It is.
Because if I get out of me and I have an effort to get in connection with a power greater than myself, I don't have problems.
Right.
That's the weirdest part. All my problems exist in me. That, dude, it's just I love it, man. Like you said this earlier. I've heard it all, dude. And I don't judge any of it. If it works, great. Have an escape plan.
Yeah.
Let people know you can only stay 2 hours. Don't go hang around Uncle Johnny or go in the basement with the guys where the whiskey is, right? Like whatever, dude. None of it works long term.
Right. It'll run out. The whole barbershop thing, right? But the only thing is, like, if you want the time with your family, like, you got to go into that barbershop and like you're gonna need something else. You know what I mean? Because at some point, it's the holiday season. Maybe not everybody answers. Although a lot of AA people are like more, those that have been around longer and are more of service than like newer people in the program do tend to stay by their phone like a little bit more and be more attentive just in case anybody does call.
Yep.
Like I'm usually of that mind. But there's it. It doesn't have to be that bad, dude. It just doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be this thing this dark hole that you're afraid of falling into. It doesn't have to be this gaggle of like storm clouds that might turn into a tornado that seem to be heading right for you. It's fucking Christmas, man. You know, like it doesn't have to be that. And just like you don't have to hurt from alcohol anymore. Like, dude, it can be a fucking awesome time. It can be.
Dude, it's just so crazy how, like, my personal opinion for me is, like, I trained myself to think that way for years.
Yeah.
Like I trained myself to be in these, like, rooms in my head that I had to live in, trying not to get high and trying not to, you know, how to figure out how to not get arrested or, like, dude, like, when I was early on and people said shit like that to me, I was somewhat insulted or frustrated because, like, it seemed too simple.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're worried about possibly doing something stupid with having a debit card and $500 in the bank. Well, guess what? That doesn't have to be a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
Give me 1 second. Quart of waste is gone from my bladder. Feeling much better.
Yeah, what was that book you told me to buy that I did not buy last week that blew my mind?
The Coddling of the American Mind.
That's it. Did I write it down? I'm checking.
You did when we were talking about it. Which we can maybe like veer into that topic, because I do think that's an offshoot of what we were talking about. I was trying to find a spot like to kind of incorporate that. But yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so last week I just remember this. Like, I remember walking away from that conversation for me with a vibe of like an issue I have been struggling with or can get better at is just looking at difficulty differently. Kind of speaks right into what we just talked about in another way, right? But like not looking at difficulty or annoyance as difficulty or annoyance.
Yeah.
But just like trying to look at it a little bit more, I don't want to say gratefully, that's a little too much, but just like these are the things that kind of get me toward the directions I'm trying to go. Like if I look at struggle or annoyance as like, oh, what the fuck? I don't get to like experience, you know, the rewards of what it is.
Yeah. And I was trying to make sure we stayed on track with the last thing, but like I've been wanting to talk about this anyway. And like it's not to say like, so like the kind of like the vibe for like what we were saying in the last episode that had like audio issues and we had to cut. I mean, I still have it. Maybe I'll just put it up as like a throwaway at some point, but was that like we are out of the external realm in terms of like problem and solution, or like cause and effect, right? Like now all we're focused on is like effect and solution, I guess, for like the terminology that I used. I guess that's like what I would say. Like we're no longer in the, like it is the acceptance passage. Like that is like the whole thing, and like that was so important to me. Excuse me. And like it directly speaks to what I was talking about with like the holiday party and relating it to like the spiritual practice in the program as a whole, which is we are trying to learn how to efficiently live as happy as we can, as content as we can, and as the best versions of ourselves that we could possibly be in that moment in any given external circumstance. Like that's the goal. And you can't do that if, in like the royal you, not like you directly, although you are part of like the royal you. You can't do that if you're always worried about what the external circumstance looks like, who's involved in it, what they're going to do, what's going to happen, when, where, how, what, why. Like there's no room for solution there. And problems are so much more, I guess, exaggerated or exacerbated when you're worried, when you're so focused on the problem, the portions of the problem that you can't control. The only portion of the problem that we're trying to kind of focus on now is that there is one. And we're going to switch it from like the external to recognizing how you're feeling on the inside. And then we have our ways of dealing with that internally, sometimes by external means, by like helping others and stuff like that. But like it's all about now, like what I learned in 4 through 7 is identification of feelings, right? And like I should learn from my resentments, from my sex conduct, from my harms done to others, from my amends list. What happens when I just act on emotion, right? And like now I'm getting taught like don't go out and emotionally react and cause more harm to this person because this stuff happened to you in your past, right? Like that's like one of the lines that I was able to draw on my thing after going back and reading it a million fucking times. And now we are worried about like, we're not worried about the tangible world. Like external, everything is going to be what it is because it's God's world, not mine. And that's it. Like that was like, there's a hard period like at the end of that sentence for me. And if I can come to terms with that, which took a lot of practice, like how people practice an instrument, which I don't think is talked about in AA enough, is like how much you actually have to practice this shit to get good at it and have it be your like first reaction. Lost my thought, but feels like a bad place to lose my thought. But like now we're worried about things that we can control. I remember now, like nothing is happening on the outside that we can control, man. I mean, like practically, yeah, dude. Like I get up and put my pants on. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing maybe there's something spiritual about that. I mean, before I wasn't doing a lot of laundry and I wore the same fucking pair of sweatpants and a hoodie that I slept in for the last 3 weeks. And one of those weeks I was going through withdrawal, so it's all fucking like sweat and gross stained. Like, yeah, sure, I'll give you that. But like, we're talking about like dealing with life on life's terms, and there's a very practical way of thinking that it's like I'm not worried about what happened that my eyes can see that made this feeling happen inside of me. I am worried about having this feeling inside of me. And then I can like, once I identify that and I'm in that mindset, I can sort through what happened externally maybe, and like determine like, okay, my pride was affected here, or like I'm afraid of like not getting something I want here, and all these other things. It's all internal work. That's all the whole thing is trying to do. And with that being my mindset is also why the holidays are so much, I guess, so much easier for me than some other people, because I just know like no matter where I go, what I do, who I talk to, or how or why or what or whatever, any of those questions in the world ever, it starts with me. That is how that's just how it is. That is the most, that I feel like is like the culmination of like everything, and like that's how the psychic change that's kind of what the psychic change is in my experience. It all starts with me. And yeah, there's a lot of offshoots of that, but I'll end like the rambling there.
Yeah, it's like dealing with life on life's terms translates to dealing with me on my current terms.
Yes.
And I just love how you said it, dude. Like, so what I ran into a lot for years, really, and still sometimes now, is I get a feeling, like you said, that automatically just on autopilot makes me want to try a certain something to fix the feeling. And it's like very subconscious, dude. It's not like real thought out, right?
Which is fine, by the way.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of that.
No, so let's say that I feel a certain way about like a family member. I feel frustrated, or what I can't think of a lot of good emotion words, but I just feel a little bit confused or frustrated about something with a family member, mm-hmm. right? I have these like built-in things I try that I learned later we like to call character defects, mm-hmm. that I'll try to do to resolve the situation. Avoid, keep a distance, talk to them a certain way, maybe be a little bit guarded, maybe or maybe just try to tackle it head on. And I'll tell you this, that shit never works. It might work. Yeah. It never goes away. I think it's gonna, right? No. But I just like how you broke that down. Like, if I start to become more aware of where I'm at, and I start to become more aware of the fact that in time, 4 through 7, the way I tend to handle it does not produce the outcome I'm looking for. The outcome I'm looking for in the context I just gave is connection. Mm-hmm. I want to feel like me and my family members or whatever are cool. You know, we're like cordial and like we're good. Yeah. So I got this feeling, and the way that I know how to take that feeling and behave or think doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So if I start tending to me instead and try a different approach, it all starts to work. Mm-hmm. And that like the way I took what you said, that's literally the whole program, dude. Yeah. If I deal with me on my terms, life on life's terms is completely fine. Yeah. If I try to deal with life on my terms, me on my terms gets 1,000 times worse, and life looks like shit. Mm-hmm. I hate everybody. I'm frustrated. I'm not like, I'm scrolling. I'm just like, I'm on the golf course, like playing like shit, all because I'm not in a good place. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, it's just kind of funny, dude, how like, it's not about me, but it's all about me. And what's so funny about that is, it's all about me because everything comes out of me. Mm-hmm. But if I can just address that so that I can make it about somebody else, Absolutely. It all works.
Yeah, I call it like being selfish for selfless reasons, or being selfish in order to be selfless. Yeah. I mean, if you don't take care of yourself, are you going to take care of anybody else, right? And like that's why like a lot of things would go wrong. In me trying to like in the beginning, like we want to like go out and make amends like right away, right? Like at least I did, because like, oh, I finally have like 35 days, and oh boy, have I learned a lot, right? And so ready to set the world right, that I've encountered and that I like tore apart in my usage.
So real quick, can I give more examples of like this point that we're kind of making, like,
sure,
because this goes into Christmas and this worried about drinking. This goes into
this is literally like as long as your eyes are open.
Yes,
like
this is the whole connecting point of so many of the experiences I have as a person who's just trying to live a different lifestyle, dude. So more examples, and this is all I'm just gonna give like 2 or 3 of different parts of my recovery. So specifically, I'm talking about say that again. That little self. What did you just say a minute ago?
Being selfish in order to be selfless.
Yup. So a little bit more of that for me. So early on in recovery, I would get annoying questions and comments from loved ones. They would voice fear and concern about what I was going to do, because I wasn't going to a psychiatrist. I wasn't doing a lot of like the hallmark professional things that a lot of family members get comfort from. Like my mom told me for years, go see a professional, like 12-step or AA or NA. Like that doesn't seem to work. Not knowing I never worked it, but like I want you to go see a professional, right? So they're a little bit on edge about me. And an example of like just little tricks that I learned to accomplish this goal. So one of the first things that someone suggested I say, and I actually took their suggestion, which is great, because in like one of the things recovery teaches me is how to take good advice. That's a great fucking tool right there, dude. Like that should be a slogan on the wall. It really should. Yeah. Learning how to take good advice.
That's good. I like it.
And so one of the things I learned how to say when people might halfway come at me is something like, hey, I see where you're coming from and I understand what you're saying. That right there. So like what I did previously was I tried to give him an answer. And what do you think happened? My answer yielded more objection from the person I was talking to. They didn't like it that I was going to do a lot of the shit the same that they didn't think worked before. So by saying to them, hey, I see where you're coming from and I understand that this has been tough for you, and just leaving it there, I feel like looking back, I was trying to extend myself so that like they know that I'm hearing what they're saying. So like just another example of how like recognizing that I'm uncomfortable with what's going on and trying a little bit of a different solution. Dude, like 6 months to a year of early recovery, that helped me fucking amazingly. Like there is nothing cooler than when the usual question attack from your loved ones starts to die down. Yeah, that was a pivotal moment for me, dude. Yeah, because so much of what I had gotten in all other attempts at recovery were just, so what's gonna be different? Good luck answering that shit. Right. So I don't know, like just kind of like an example just for people that are listening to hear of like, I guess how that showed up for me, dude. Like tending to what I'm experiencing and hopefully making it about another person, Well,
yeah. And like, you're kind of hinting at like other people recovering by osmosis, right? Like when we get better, everybody else around us gets better and it really speaks to like the part of that you never really hear is like, that also shows you how much you really did fuck a lot of things up for a lot of people. I never hear that side of that phrase. I was actually just thinking about that the other day where like, why is it that everybody gets better when you get better? It's because you were that fucking bad, right? Like I was that bad that like other people's lives could actually get measurably better on a day-to-day basis if I just stopped being a piece of shit. Like, and that put like my destruction into like a whole new framework for me, like a whole new deeper level of understanding of how I probably plagued the minds of so many of my loved ones. Like on like potentially a moment to moment basis of like them just sitting there like on the fucking couch. You know what I mean? Like it gave me a whole new understanding of like what I put people through. And I don't know how many tangents we're going on here, but like the whole like selfish for selfless reasons, the clearest example that I can give of that is like for 2 to 3 hours a week, I have to leave Madeline here when she probably wants to spend time with me, so I can go to this church or church basement with all of these strangers and talk about this kind of stuff, so that I'm spiritually fit enough and content enough and out of my head enough to make our time together outside of those 2 to 3 hours measurably better than it would be if I didn't. And that helps her and it helps my family. But it's something that I'm doing for myself. I mean, I am. So my head can be clear, so everybody else's experiences that involve me are that much better. And that's like the best example that I can give to people. But and what you're also kind of hinting at is like something else that can actually happen around like this time of year, which is like people being like more on edge, right? Around the royal you, right? And
the almighty I.
Yeah. And it talks about like, I'm just going to go with my thoughts at this point, where like another early recovery thing is you hear people with like, recently I heard somebody with 6 months say like, my wife is still asking me like a lot of questions, like when I leave the house to go anywhere, even though for the past 6 months I've done everything that I've said I was going to go do and haven't lied. You know, I've been good. She's still asking me questions and it's kind of pissing me off. I guess like a transition to like an early recovery topic for like advice, I guess, just because that's where my mind went, is like, well, maybe you fucking deserve it. That's the only thing that helped me. You know what I mean? Somebody else said it way more lovingly, but like that's how I say it.
Yeah, dude, real quick, like it speaks to, I got to go back to what you said about like we don't realize how fucking bad of an impact we have on other people.
Exactly.
How much we destroy their spiritual space. Mm-hmm. And like I know I'm giving Chris B a lot of past quote shout outs here, but
yeah, and just for full disclosure, like because like holiday things are going to be in the title. If you're just in this for like the holiday stuff, we're going to come back to that. But like, take what advice people give you, but just know that if you go about the steps and recovery and like internal power and God a certain way, you don't need any of that kind of shit. You know, you don't have to worry. There's an easier path around the holidays and everything where it literally just feels like, oh, it's the fucking holiday season and you can enjoy yourself. And like, that was like the whole point of like that whole thing. But like back into like and if you don't fucking care about the rest of the shit that we're about to talk about, then you can stop listening now. And, but yeah, go ahead with the crispy thing.
Now I think we got to read some book quotes off that dude. I got to do it. But he used to, because it talks about exactly what you just said, but he used to say to people, and I love this, if we looked at videotape footage of the last snippets of the last year of your life, mm-hmm. we would say whoever is making decisions for that person is out to kill them. Like dead up, like couldn't be more true, right? And I was always so incapable of grasping the impact that had on other people. Like you and I have been talking about what happens to us internally, right, in our own lives. But I don't know what it's like to have someone that close to me. Maybe you do, or other people have like loved ones or family members.
Sort of, yeah. In sobriety with like close friends, but probably nothing to the effect that my family went through.
Yeah, like I don't know what it's like to watch someone I love self-destruct at that level. Mm-hmm. Everything they try just shoots more lighter fluid into the fire.
Yeah.
And like really even emotionally recognizing the impact that has on other people. Like I couldn't fucking do it, dude.
Right.
You know, so like once people see that we're tending to our shit and getting better, like the impact is just fucking incredible.
Yeah, they feel like they don't have to worry anymore. Mm-hmm. Like the story that I always go to is like for the first like long, God, I don't even know. It was over a year. Like when I would still go back to my parents' house, my mom would still take her purse up to the bathroom with her when I was in the house, like over a year sober. Because if she like fell asleep on the couch for like 5 minutes, she was short $20 or whatever money was in her purse. Like, and I was out the door and that was it. And then just gaslighting her the whole time when she realized that it was gone. You know what I mean? A lot of times she would check it as soon as like, you know, as soon as she got a feeling. And then she would just look at me and go, "Really, dude? Really?" And I'm like, "What? Wait, what? I didn't do nothing." You know what I mean? I didn't do anything. It was me. She knows it was me. It was all me. I'll try to pawn it off on Zoe sometimes and everything. It was all me. But like that hurt me for a while, but like what Kim told me was like, but that's the kind of damage you did. You know what I mean? And like fucking right. Like what reason does she have to like, even though that was my first time with like that measurable amount of time sober, like you have to work for that trust. And the timeline for other people's trust upon you is not your timeline. It's their timeline. So like, you just have to understand, like, they are doing that for their own reasons. You have also earned it. I earned my mom doing that slight little thing that hurt me. Like she didn't do it to hurt me. She was doing it for her own reasons. Because it's her fucking money. And I'm known to take it. That's why. And like, dude, if people are just asking you questions and shit, I mean, like, at least they're still fucking there to ask the questions. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it just, I'm sorry.
It's other people's timeline. The trust gained back, bro. It's not ours. We're not in the judgment business. We've earned every little distrust bit that people have given to us, even if we feel like we don't. Just keep doing the right thing, and then it just fucking goes away at some point, dude. And it doesn't have to. Eventually, it became like I would just watch it happen and just be like, all right, like, she's doing what she has to do. I know I'm not trying to steal from her anymore, but that's fine. That's totally fine. Using the internal to live in the external, right? I made it about me. I mean, not made it about me. Like at first I was, right? Like feeling like really like slighted, but like understanding like it's like that's her thing. Like just leave it alone.
Yeah, it's almost like when you stop wishing for a reality, the reality happens.
Oh shit.
Like
Listen
when
to Nick, dude.
like when I so I remember I've heard this from a lot of people and I went through this, right? like when I stop trying to be trusted, like I didn't say that good, but when I stop looking for trust, I start getting trusted. Mm-hmm. When I stop looking for people to whatever, believe in me, not take their purse to the bathroom, when I literally give up on that is when it happens. Like when I stop trying to come up with the perfect speech for my family of how to get left alone, you know what they did? They left me alone.
It's almost like when we stop trying to control stuff, good stuff happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When all that shit just, dude, but you know, I think the word that comes to mind that it requires, and I'm sure this is what, you know, is a way of saying what that example you gave, maybe you fucking deserve it, right? Mm-hmm. It's humility, dude.
Yes.
That's really what it is like.
It's a more loving way than I said.
Like humble yourself to the fucking damage you've caused, and humble yourself to the fact that like people have a right to heal in their own way, in their own time. Mm-hmm. You know,
everybody has their own journeys, man.
Mm-hmm.
And just because it's your sobriety, you're not all of a sudden like, you're not all of a sudden the center of the world because like you're doing good. You know, you are literally catching up to everybody else that's not a piece of shit. Like That's what and I say all of that like stuff that sounds like a real like tough loving father kind of shit, because that's how I treat myself now, because that's the only way I can get it through my fucking head, is just that kind of blunt honesty. But yeah, man, all of that stuff is just on other people's time.
Dude, and those kinds of little firebacks that, like what you said, they really helped me and continue to. Like for example, I'm bummed that my wife doesn't trust me. Why are you worried about trust right now? Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm really pissed that my mom asks me questions when I leave the house. Why are you worrying about whether or not your mom asks questions? Like, dude, they're the most humbling fucking questions, because they redirect me back to where I need to be.
Yeah.
If I'm walking into your house with an expectation that you shouldn't do something because I don't think you should, I'm part of the problem yet again. And it's going to go south.
Self-examination.
So it goes right back to the point you've been drawing, right? External, internal. If I'm focused on internal, just what's right in front of me, I'm good. If I'm focused on what I think you should be doing and getting bothered by the fact that you're not doing it, I'm off the beam for that day.
Dude, like the internal external thing, and like it's not a coincidence that like the next topic we randomly jump to of like other people trusting can be very easily within like 10 minutes of conversation. I don't know how long we've been on this topic, but like goes back to internal versus external. Like, are you worried about the outside and what the outside looks like? Or are you worried about your internal reaction and how you can best live in the external, which you can't control anyway? And like, it's literally like you have a choice of feeling negative versus feeling positive. And it's whether you want to worry about shit that you can't change anyway. Even if you change and it works in the short term, you're fucking yourself in the long term. And because instant gratification gets you nowhere in any situation except instantly. And then you get right back down, if not worse, later. Or you can focus on yourself, your reactions, and then no matter what the fuck happens on the outside, you got an answer for it. And that's what AA is, dude.
And what's so fucked up about it, right? The icing on the cake, the gold package, is if I focus my attention in the right area, what I'm worrying about looks different anyway. If I humble myself to the fact that my mom has a right to not trust me with 4 months sober, and I just own it, and whatever I'm doing at the time, saying prayers, talking to other people, working on honesty, all of a sudden my mom looks different. The battle that I'm facing looks different.
Right.
So it's just so weird how like spiritual practices, self-examination, prayer, helping others, looking at what's bothering you, it doesn't change the situation, but it changes the entire situation. Like a quote I always like: prayer might not change things for you, but it'll change you for things. You know, and like it creates a whole different view of what I see, right? Like
Spicy.
yeah, like Sandy Beach talks about in some of his talks.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, how like recovery is not about creating a new external reality. It's about learning how to look at every facet of your life through a spiritual lens, just like Chuck Chamberlain in a new pair of glasses. So like the more that I focus on tending to what's going on in my mind and my attitude and my perspective, I don't have to go to battle with you out there because the battle looks completely differently. And like, I don't know, anybody in early recovery, like that's just something that I think you realize when you start practicing and all along the way. Like there's not a week or a month that goes by where I don't realize that I stopped fucking struggling with an external thing, no matter how little it is. And all of a sudden it looks completely differently. Like quick case in point. So I don't know if I've talked about this much on here, but this radical job change that I jumped into 2 years ago, it really produced like a lot of fear and worry for me, because I worked in a recovery environment before where I knew how to talk to people. The stories we would tell were grimy and fun, and I didn't have to be on my best behavior. I wasn't in a sterile, whitewashed environment.
Yeah.
But guess what? Now I fucking am, right? So for the last 2 years, I've kind of had this imposter syndrome that I've been walking around with. Like I'll have an interaction with my boss or my supervisor or a teammate, and it just doesn't go right. Like I walk away feeling like, why'd you say that, bud? And like, what was that little weird thing about? Right? I had this kind of this feeling about something going on externally, and you know what I was trying to do? Fix it externally. The next time I went up to that person, I had this like rehearsed way I was going to do it different. Never went well. But this last week, after not being in the office for like four or 5 weeks because the basement was getting done, I go in there and I'm taking the exact same advice that I gave somebody else, and they reinforced to me through their experience, which I just said about 20 minutes ago. I made it about them. Hey, how's your daughter doing? I know you said she was going off to college. Like, how's everything going? You know, did you guys pick out some cool stuff? And all of a sudden, I would walk away from the encounters feeling totally good. So, dude, it's full circle, man. It's fucked up. It's fucked up how like my constant efforts to fix the external externally fail me every time. But every time that I get the little inkling to do the internal work, everything looks different. And
what did Bruce Lee say? Be like water.
Water can flow or it can crash.
Water goes into the glass, it becomes the glass.
It becomes the teapot.
Bro, if there was anybody that I kind of like, anybody famous that I wish was still alive, it would probably be Bruce Lee. It's just a fucking ace, dude. That dude could probably fuck like crazy. You know what I mean? If he even was worried about that kind of shit, dude. Yeah. Like, what do you think his noise would be? You know what I mean? Do you think he's giving out a bunch of hi-yahs in there or what?
The amount of fucking energy that man can muster, dude, I don't want to know.
Holy
you know?
Shit, dude. Maybe he like broke a pelvic bone at one point and then just like fucking, you know what I mean, swore off it for good. Yeah. My power's too great.
And then he says, this comes to mind in this topic. He says, I don't fear the man who has 10,000 kicks. I fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times, right? Just put those two things together, right?
Oh, fuck, man. Yeah, dude.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess as we start to like bring this thing back together, I don't know, man. I encourage anybody like worrying or trying to figure out how to fucking get good holidays and good times and trust and anything else we talked about. Like, dude, it's all internal, man. It's just all internal. And like, you probably got something on that. And while you do, I'm going to look up this thing I said I wanted to read.
It's not like, yeah, man, it's not, we're not fighting alcohol anymore. Like, that fight has been replaced with like the proper one, which is like the internal battle of self. Like, that's what it is. And like, whether it happens subconsciously or not, like it's what we subscribe to when we sign up for this. And I mean, like, the alcohol only seems like it's going to be more of a problem because you think it is. I mean, it's as readily available as every other day. You just don't have to really go into the car to get it while you're there. Like, that's the only difference. Like, every other day you could go in your fucking car and get it. Like, you know what I mean? It's no different. It's literally no different. Mm-hmm. It's just like this weird thing where like you think, and like people blame it on like alcohol is always made like a part of things like around like society and shit. And it's like, dude, societies have done that since like, I don't know, man first crushed grapes, I guess is like what you would say. Like, there's like a Big Book line with like when man first crushed grapes that's like not related to this topic. So like, I think that's why I chose that wording. But like, gatherings have been like celebrated by like intoxication for a long fucking time, dude. Like, you could blame it on society all you want. That's not going to make it easier for you, right? I'm just kind of talking at this point, but like it is as big of a deal as you make it. It really is, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Just focus on, like you said, like you were like, it's like a more vague way of what you were saying. Like, just focus on everything else there. Like, just go there and like be a family member, dude. Like, talk to people, even if you don't know how. Fucking figure it out, man. Like, they're your family. Like, you wouldn't be there if they didn't want to, like, maybe like, you know, have some sort of fucking relationship or talk with you. Like,
and the good news on that front that I've learned is people love talking about them, just like I love talking about me.
Yeah.
So if I give the opportunity to do so, I'm good, dude. Every little question can have 5 follow-up questions.
And plus, they probably know that you're sober and you just got out of rehab and you're doing this whole fucking thing. And like, how much do you know about them anyway? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, get to know your fucking family, dude.
Yeah, dude. So
that was me. Like, I had to learn who the fuck my family actually was, because I never, as long as I'd been coming around there, mature and coherent enough to have intelligent conversations about them and who they are as people, I didn't. I was high or not present because I was worried about when I could get high or drunk the next time. And now I have an opportunity to get to know who the fuck these people are.
Dude, it's such a good point. Like, my mom used to say to me, like, you just never sit still. Like, when I'm with you, you're smoking, you're looking at your phone, you're getting up, you're smoking again, you're looking at your, like, you just never, like, chill.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. I was discontent and worried and texting a dealer and trying to get a delivery and trying to get the fuck out of there because I'm starting to nod a little more than I like. Mm-hmm. And I think Vizine's supposed to fix it, but it never does. But yeah, here's this passage real quick. It says, I'm just gonna read my favorite part of it. It says, in our belief, any scheme of combating alcoholism which proposes to shield the sick man from temptation is doomed to failure. If the alcoholic tries to shield himself, he may succeed for a time, but he usually winds up with a bigger explosion than ever. Mm-hmm. We have tried these methods. These attempts to do the impossible have always failed. So I guess, like, you know, to me and on what we're saying, like, the more I try to make external adjustments to fix an internal problem, the worse it goes.
Dude, I love that. And like, I'm trying to think of like a catch-all phrase. It's like, my belief in this belief is based on experiences that I've had since being on a spiritual journey. Since the spiritual journey is the only thing that's worked, meaning I can be happy and content and I'm not burning down the entire fucking world around me like I used to be. Like, me as a spiritual being, like, I am not meant to shape reality. So I'm not meant to shape reality to then influence my reaction, right? Like, I am meant to experience reality and adapt to it. Like, I'm supposed to adapt. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do. And like, that's why, like, change is one of the biggest things that's like talked about throughout the rooms, right? Like, we don't like change. Everything we do in here, you change one thing and it's everything, right? Like, every external thing that happens, like, reality changes for me every day with like new scenarios and sometimes with the same people and places, but like, and I am supposed to, like Bruce Lee said, right? Like, I'm supposed to like become whatever the situation is, like adapt to that, implement my tools so I can flow with it as best as I can. And dude, the more that I try to mold reality is just like, dude, you're never going to be able to do that. You're never going to be able to do it. And then you're not going to do it. It's not going to work. Then you're going to think, I'm a fucking failure. I can't do everything. And none of these actors or like people or adhering to like the show plan, right? Like the book talks about, and like I'm just like a disgruntled actor and director or whatever. And it's we're meant to have life happen, and then we just go along with it. Like it's just fucking coasting, dude. And like that coast is definitely like roller coasting, right? Like up and down and shit. But like, when has trying to control things ever fucking worked, dude? On the like, and like I said, I put my pants on, right? Like I got that. But like in terms of like the grand scheme of things, that's just not what we're about anymore. We tried that, and we ended up having to sit in church basements. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's kind of like a way I think I could recap steps 1, 2, and 3, right? It's like,
love it.
Step 1, you got this problem, but oh yeah, hey, it turns out it's not actually your problem.
Ooh.
Step 2, there may be something bigger than you that can help solve this problem. Step 3, here's the real problem. Mm-hmm. Can you make a decision to start working on that real problem? If so, we got 9 more work steps. What we'll call, or I'm sorry, 7 more work steps to get you really working and getting through this problem, and then you're gonna give it all away and reinforce it.
Oh,
reinforce it full circle.
Ooh, don't get worked up now, dude. Don't get worked up. Settle down.
I know. But yeah, dude, like, I just, man, I love it. Like this, I say this every time. This topic right here is my favorite thing. Absolutely. To try to, when a person I'm around starts picking up on this much, mm-hmm. It makes my whole fucking day, dude.
Yeah, man.
Because like, I know they're going to be okay in time.
That's why I loved how excited you were when we talked about it last time with the episode that may never be, you know?
It's just, I'm hitting everything.
Yeah.
Very confined. I'm very confined.
Dude, like it's, and I want to, we're gonna wrap this up shortly because hopefully the Chiefs are gonna start losing it in 5 minutes.
And plus that bread's killing me. I'm starving and I got to go hang out with the family.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that bread does smell banging. Yeah. Madeline is making a focaccia, by the way, for those of you that care. Oh, it's so fucking good, dude. I'm so excited. It's when I said the acceptance passage is like when we are. I forget if they use restless, irritable, and discontent in the passage as much as I fucking read it, right? But it's like when we're discontent or like uncomfortable or insert negative emotion here, it's because we're deeming some person, place, or thing like unacceptable to us, and we can find no solace or contentment until we like until that person, place, or thing is exactly the way we think it should be in that moment, right? And like, so I boil it down to like when something happens or I learn something, like a new piece of information, right? Like I hear something about somebody or whatever. As soon as I have that feeling of discontent, or something that's like not content, not necessarily discontent, but something where I don't want to overcomplicate this. Like if I feel discontent, internal, immediately is where I'm supposed to go. Right away. Mm-hmm. Right away. Like, and that's the order that it's said in the same sentence. When I feel discontent, I'm unaccepting of something. And if I'm unaccepting of it, that means I'm putting myself above God again. Where did that get me? Sitting there reading that fucking book where it fucking talks about that, right? Like
in the plaid pajamas with a wristband on, waiting for my next dose of whatever is getting me well.
Yeah, nowadays I'm waiting to get fucking scanned. Have you been in there? Now they're fucking scanning the people. Jesus Christ. And like that's what it is, dude. Like no ifs, ands, buts, except for like none of that. If I feel discontent, it's my fault. You got to dive in to fix it. Period. Done. That's it. And that has been a law for me. That's like when I'm sitting at work and like somebody says something that I don't agree with or something that changes, I get a feeling. I'm not saying the feelings go away, but right away, I've practiced enough to be like, Okay, let's sort through this. And then I sit there in my mind, like building my fucking thing, and I sit there and I fucking think through it. Sometimes I say a prayer to myself right there and then quietly. Or sometimes I'm a little loud and someone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, just don't worry about it. You know what I mean? And then it's practical, it's literal. It's if I feel uneasy, discontent, whatever, there's something wrong. Sort it out, figure it the fuck out. Like you learned when you went through the steps, and that's what the steps are for. And that's it. That is my practical application, like on a moment to moment basis. And it's not like I'm a fucking head case all the time, because like you do this shit enough to a point where that becomes your working part of the mind, right? That the book talks about what used to be the occasional hunter inspiration. Like, oh, maybe I don't see it from their perspective. Used to never enter my mind. Now that I've been exposed to it, it is the occasional hunter inspiration. Now it's where my mind goes too often, right? A grateful place. Like I used to have to practice being grateful. I'm back on that train right now because I kind of lost sight of that after the wedding and everything. It brought everything back into perspective. But all of these things, you don't have to be a fucking head case and judgmental and like doing your X's and O's all the time. Eventually you're just like, yeah, just an accepting, chill guy. Like that meme that's going around right now with the dog. Just a chill guy. That's all it is, dude. You don't feel right? Look at yourself. That's what it is.
Available to everyone 24 hours at a time, regardless of sobriety time.
Correct.
The third step promise tells us before the action steps even begin that we can be reborn.
Yep.
It's a total new perspective, dude. So
that's what it is.
Good shit, brother.
Did not mean for that volume to come on. So you got anything else? I know that you're trying to get out of here.
Nah, dude, I'm good. Just thank you as always.
Yeah, you as well, dude. Absolutely. How do you feel about, I mean, we are professional sports analysts, so like how do you feel with tomorrow against the Redskins? I'm calling them the Redskins.
We'll take them.
Yeah.
We'll take them. I think it'll be a game, but we'll take them. Because our
they said that about the last game though, and like everybody at work kept saying like Terry McLaurin, and I kept saying like, have you seen what our fucking rookie's doing? Like,
yeah,
he held him to what? Like, did he get any targets last time?
1 target, 12 yards. So
what the fuck is that?
So, and that's what it comes down to. Like we're talking about this, like teams, no matter what happens in the first and second quarters, our defense is just not allowing teams to run away in the second half. Now, I thought for a little while that might be just, bad teams, but like we did it to the Ravens. Yeah. We did it to the Steelers, like our now you could make the case like we let them come back. Like, look what happened with the Panthers game. They had a chance to beat us. Mm-hmm. But, like, I just don't think that our defense is allowing teams to do what they need to do.
Right.
So, like we said, dude, I would love Hurts to get out hot quicker, but it's just not the way he plays this year.
Yeah, I think, like what you talked about, not to keep you here for longer, but I just love talking about this stuff. It's like our defense is holding teams off long enough in the first half so our offense can just do its fucking thing in the second. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even sometimes it takes like Fangio a little bit to like adjust the schemes or play calling or whatever until the second half, and then we really start to shut motherfuckers down.
And did you notice last game?
Also, Zach Ertz is not playing.
Did you notice last week that we look better against the run? Yeah. So I was a little bit worried about the run the last 3 or 4 weeks. Like, guys were getting some nice chunk plays, and I'd be sitting there watching us, and I'd be like, if I'm the other team, I'm just going to keep fucking running it. We're giving up 7 a clip, and they want to try and throw it, and DeJean and Quenyon. Dude, just shut them right down.
And, yeah, DeJean does good at like telegraphing runs. Zach Bond has just been reborn as a fucking football player. Like, Fangio was just like, you're an inside guy, right? And they were like, okay. What the fuck? Like now he's just balling, dude.
Yeah, he's vicious.
And like
back to your Zach.
Carter's having a hell of a year, dude.
Back to your Zach Ertz though. He's been a factor this year, hasn't he? Is he having a pretty good year?
Yeah, I mean he's been pretty. I'm pretty sure he's been decent with them. Like I know he did pretty well against us last year, even when like Sam Howell was playing.
Yeah. That's why I kind of chuckled, because it took me a minute to realize that he, like last year and the year before, he was kind of a non-factor. Player, dude. They had this other guy, Logan somebody, big white boy.
I don't know him.
Yeah. I had him in fantasy a couple times.
Okay. So. But yeah, I think all we have to worry about is potentially like Sidney Brown.
A little bit, yeah, young.
I think Bryce Huff like had like partial practice participation, maybe. But I mean, what the fuck has Bryce Huff been doing, right? Like it's literally been everybody else but him on the defense that's been getting to the quarterback anyway. So like it doesn't even really matter. Like, and that's another thing that's kind of crazy, which is making me nervous. I mean, we had the only major injuries that we were facing for a while was just AJ and Devontae, but like, and that's why I think we're. If the Lions keep their fucking defense injuries up, like, I feel very, like...
I think we can beat any football team in the league.
Cautiously over-optimistic.
Yeah, we got 3 divisional games coming up. I think that one of them will beat us. I don't know if it's this week or next week. I don't think we're going to finish 15-2. It's possible, but...
The only way I think that happens is, like, we go second string against, like, the Giants. That's the only way I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I don't think the Cowboys are beating us.
They've been playing better, bro.
Yeah.
But we'll put pressure on Rush.
They've been playing better against bad teams. Like, they have not...
They lost to the Bengals.
We are pretty much the number 1 defense in the league, though. Like, the only metric we're second in is, like pass yards allowed. But, like, overall yards allowed, like, we're first. Like, it's just what it is, dude.
We pulled it off, man. Everybody was worried about this year.
Yeah. We have been pulling it off.
Well, I don't mean that in terms of, like, you know, the end of the road, but nobody knew what this new team with new coordinators was going to look like, and we look fucking
correct.
Good. We're a football
week 4
team.
week 4 I was not optimistic.
And then what happened? Nick Sirianni shaved his head.
Yeah, the Baldiani era, dude.
That's what happened.
Yeah. And yeah, I think I don't know. It's kind of just like the first time we played the Commanders. I just had a feeling it wasn't really going to be close, and it was for a little bit. I felt the same thing about the Steelers, honestly. They don't have a pass game really outside of George Pickens, and even if he was there, he gets what, like 40 yards, maybe? Like, there's just not, and like Jalen Carter's been great. I don't think Jordan Davis has been talked about enough. Like, our linebackers are actually playing. Like, Nakobe Dean is suddenly like a football player. Like,
we're giving up almost no big pass plays. Now we might give up like a sideline play, but put it this way, in my view as a fan, the deep threat is out. Nobody's getting deep balls thrown on us that are landing.
I think like the first I don't know, because the coverage is tight, but I think the first defense that comes at us with like how we played our pass game against the Steelers, just like quick release passes, like quick plays. I think like that's always how we've gotten the ball driven up on us. Like that's how that's what the Cowboys did to us a lot.
But then we're a great red zone defense.
Right.
So we're going to hold you to a field goal. Like the Steelers tried it a couple times with Van Jefferson, right? Okay. Don't they have Van Jefferson as their deep guy? Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. But I just don't remember the last time over the last month that I've seen a 40-yard pass get thrown that's landed. So, no, I feel good, man. I'd be cool with us finishing out strong, but I have mixed feelings about first round buys. I know that it allows your team to rest up players, but I just think sometimes you come out a little shaky.
Yeah, I don't like first round buys. And
because remember, the Lions have to play the Vikings in week 18.
Yeah.
And they may be chomping for like, that may be a real football game.
I think it should be.
Unless somebody's pulled away and they're not playing for first place.
So here's my question. In your opinion, for the season to be a success, do you think the Eagles have to win the Super Bowl? Because, like, in my opinion, I think them just getting there is, like, I would be upset if they lost. But, like...
The building blocks they have,
yeah,
I'm a fan through and through, and I want to see them win. But like, no matter what happens moving forward, the building blocks that I see, I think this year's been a fucking amazing success.
I honestly think anything less than a conference win is, you could chalk it up to being shortchanged.
Mm-hmm.
Anything short than a Super Bowl appearance, I think, is shortchanged for how this team's playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious how we're going to stand up to. So the NFC teams I'm worried about are the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings. I'm worried about all of them. I think that the Packers are way better than people think.
I agree.
I think that the Lions are the Lions. And
I'm actually not worried about the Lions.
Sam Darnold... I think that when they keep playing more good teams, like they've won so many of their games by like a field goal.
The Vikings you're talking about.
Yeah, I think we can beat the Vikings. But, you know, those three teams worry me because Jordan Love is like, he's a big play guy. He's a runner. Their defense is good. What's his face is having a great year.
What team is this you're talking about?
Packers, sorry. He pleased to play for the Raiders. I got it on the tip of my tongue.
I don't have it on the tip of my tongue. Dude, the Lions let up points though. Lions let up a lot of points, dude.
Yeah, their defense is good, but it's not knocked down.
And they've been
in a lot of shootout games because what's
the closest defense to us that they've played. You know?
Yeah.
Like
now
it's the same way against, like, I feel the same way about them as I felt against our first game against Washington, which everyone thought it was going to be like a shootout. Something in me is just like, dude, I really don't think
they can beat us.
And they also almost all of their defense is just fucking hindered, dude.
Well, plus now, by the way, that running back's name's Josh Jacobs for Green Bay.
Oh, the running back.
Yeah, but another thing too, man, is they had two tremendous running backs with a complete timeshare that were putting up incredible production every week in Montgomery and Gibbs. Yeah. I really think that now that one's off the board, you're giving all the work to this one guy. I think that's going to change
Montgomery's
things.
hurt?
Montgomery, I think, had season-ending surgery.
Oh, shit.
So, like, Gibbs is an absolute beast. But I just really think that when you're taking all the hits and the bruising and you're not getting that backfield split, because almost no team in football had as good of a backfield split as them. No, it was
insane.
Dude, like both of those players all year long were putting up 15 to 20 points a game.
I think almost every game, well, I'll say like over like 75% of the games, they were both like favored to have like a touchdown at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's insane.
And you don't see that much where you got, like, again, fantasy perspective. If you had both of those guys, you could play both of them as almost running back ones. That never happens, right? But they're both so good. Like, Montgomery is such a bruiser up the middle. Gibbs can do everything. Great outside runner, great pass catcher. So I have to go up against. I think I would go up against him next week if I can win, and I'm not happy about it.
I really think like the only thing I'd be worried about is how like. I mean, seeing like Quinyon defend like Justin Jefferson, who is like the wide receiver to kind of prove yourself against, right? And they and how they use their tight end. That would be the only thing that I would be nervous about because we don't do real well against like tight ends.
Well, I would be nervous about that too, but with how good our front seven are, you just pressure the fuck out of Darnold and make him
He's not the most mobile guy on the planet.
No, like if you pressure him enough, he cracks.
Yeah.
You know, and I like whereas Jordan Love, not so much.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
really like Jordan Love, dude.
like there's only a handful of quarterbacks, in my opinion, in the league who you really can't beat by just a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously Mahomes, obviously Allen, Jordan Love's one of them. I think Goff's one of them too. But like you can't just blitz the fuck out of them. They'll make you pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, like I think Jaden Daniels is kind of potentially like starting to get toward that conversation too, where like you can dial it up against him, but he's gonna also make you pay for it.
Yeah. He looked way better in the beginning of the year for sure. But
yeah, got hurt.
Yeah, but
We'll see, bud.
Tune in to our ESPN window next week, I guess.
That game starts at 1:30.
It's on right now.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah. 2nd and 17 for KC, but we're not about to do a live coverage of the game. So we will be back. I do have a guest lined up for the second week of January. On that Saturday. I don't know if we'll get together before then. I would like to. And we'll see who can come on then. But until then, everybody, Merry Christmas. Enjoy your holidays. If we don't see you before then, Happy New Year's. And holidays are not a big deal. They're not a big deal. Alcohol is there just like it's everywhere. You know what I mean?
Smile and be useful.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. And keep God there. And until next time, God bless you. We love you. And we hope you heard something that helps you.
God bless everybody. Have an amazing holiday. Thank you, brother.
Bing bong. You know what that is? Side talk, John? I gotta show you these videos, dude. Real good shit.